The modern girl, La Yunqi, unexpectedly transmigrated into a cannon fodder young lady, marrying into the cold prime minister's mansion. She brought with her a modern supermarket system, able to purchase food, medicine, and goods to improve her ancient life. Initially, the prime minister was distant, but gradually won over by her cleverness, sincerity, and miraculous items. The two experienced many hilarious situations, from misunderstandings to gradually developing deep feelings. In the end, she not only conquered the prime minister's heart but also turned the supermarket into a weapon, making the entire mansion increasingly prosperous and happy. Everyone, please follow Lisa Manhwa to watch this captivating story. Dark clouds suddenly gathered, obscuring the bustling city. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Heavy rain poured down on the modern city below, splashing and splattering. The continuous rumbling sounds heralded a lingering rain that would last all night. At the same time, at a certain small supermarket, a girl, soaked to the bone, pushed the door open and entered. Phew, the rain is too heavy, even with an umbrella it's no use. Finally back, this is La Yunqi, just turned 20 this year. The machine hanging on the wall detected a figure and hurriedly performed its duty. Ting, ting, welcome, please take your temperature and wear a mask. But La Yunqi didn't bother to listen. She went to rearrange the goods on the shelves, constantly planning for the future. After a week of deliveries, I'm quite familiar with City C. Tomorrow I'll go out and find a part-time job with room and board, to avoid causing more trouble for my uncle, and maybe save some money. La Yunqi was engrossed in her work, not noticing someone slowly approaching her from the shadows. It wasn't until the warm yellow light of the supermarket was blocked that La Yunqi was startled and discovered the person. She pursed her lips tightly and turned around cautiously. Unexpectedly, she was faced with a very familiar smiling face. La Yunqi exclaimed in surprise, "Oh, uncle, you, when did you get here?" pretending she hadn't been about to smash the bottle in her hand. Over his head a second ago. This was La Yunqi's uncle, also the owner of this small supermarket. He stared at her and softly asked, "Yunqi, your hair is so wet, were you delivering again?" Then he mentioned the main purpose of his visit. "I came to tell you, your aunt is an ignorant woman. Don't take her words to heart, we're family, we can't possibly kick you out." La Yunqi didn't want to discuss this further, only smiled politely. "Yes, I know, uncle, it's late, you should go home, it might rain harder later." How could Luo Jing not recognize her subtle attempt to send him away? He smacked his lips and uttered meaningful words. "What's the rush? We haven't seen each other in years. We haven't had a chance to reminisce about old times." As soon as he finished speaking, the uncle immediately moved close behind La Yunqi, shamelessly taking a deep breath. "Yunqi, you smell so good, tell me, do all 20-year-old girls smell like you?" His hot breath near her neck startled her, her eyes widening. Seeing La Yunqi stiffen and not resist, Luo Jing became even more emboldened, his hand starting to grope her soft rear. "Oh dear, look at you, your clothes are all wet. Why aren't you more careful? Your parents died early, these years living alone haven't been easy. If you're willing, I can take care of you." The disgusting touch and nauseating words made La Yunqi tremble violently. "Uncle, it's raining heavily outside." Immediately after, she turned around and delivered a kick to the pervert's weak spot, while finishing her sentence, "Your head must be full of water, you scum." Luo Jing wasn't a god, being hit there, he could only cry out in pain. "Ugh." La Yunqi coldly looked at him kneeling on the floor, angrily cracking her knuckles. "I wasted my time treating you as the only family I had in this world, so unlucky. Looks like tonight I have to find a deserted place to spend the night." Then she turned and left, leaving her uncle trembling, clutching his extremely painful area. Suddenly, Luo Jing's hand touched a bottle lying on the ground. The soft thud sparked a bold idea in his mind. He tried to ignore the pain, shouting with all his might, "Damn it, take another step and see." The aggressive tone made La Yunqi uncomfortable and she turned back to scold. "Hey, do you still want to?" Before she could finish speaking, she was interrupted by the shadow of a bottle flying straight at her, along with Luo Jing's thunderous roar, "You little bitch, go to hell." With a loud crash, La Yunqi's body immediately collapsed onto the cold floor of the small supermarket, her consciousness gradually sinking into the deep darkness. Not knowing how much time had passed, strange rustling sounds reached her ears, helping her gradually wake up, but the only thing present in her mind was the last scene before she fainted. "Blood, so much blood, my head hurts so much." La Yunqi wasn't sure. She asked herself a question, "Am I dead?" In a distant, unfamiliar place, the sky was also dyed black by the night. Echoes of sobbing filled the space. "Wah wah, wah wah, followed by a tender voice comforting. Don't cry, little sister, stay here obediently, don't move, I'll go take a look." The murmuring conversation right next to her made La Yunqi gradually wake up. "Shoo, too noisy, my head seems to hurt even more." Her hand slightly twitched, signaling her body was gradually regaining its senses. "That's not right, where is the sound of a child crying coming from?" As soon as this thought flashed in her mind, she immediately sat up in shock. La Yunqi's sudden action startled the two children standing at the door, causing them to retreat slightly. Han Mo stood in front of his sister. "Rong, be careful." Han Rong stammered, asking the person on the bed, "Sister-in-law, sister-in-law, are you awake?" La Yunqi hadn't had time to think, she was dumbfounded by those strange words. "Who are you? What did you call me, sister-in-law?" Then she was calm enough to silently recognize even stranger things. Wait, the clothes of these two children, they're ancient clothes. Why is this room a thatched cottage? The lovely little girl opposite her worriedly introduced herself. "Sister-in-law, I am Han Rong." But these words probably made La Yunqi even more suspicious. Moreover, Han Rong, this name seems a little familiar. As if wanting to confirm her thoughts, she gently asked, "You too, aren't your names Han Mo and Han Rong?" Then she realized why she felt familiar with the names of the two children. "I vaguely remember. In the film crew I worked as an extra in half a year ago, the male lead's younger sister was named Han Rong. Moreover, the male lead just happened to have a younger brother named Han Mo." La Yunqi couldn't help but be amazed at this coincidence. That's not right, I must be crazy, how could there be such a thing as transmigrating after death?" Her dazed state made question marks fly above Han Rong's head. "That's right, sister-in-law, don't you recognize me and second brother?" These words in La Yunqi's ears were like a bolt from the blue. Boom boom, she screamed in her heart with a pale face. "No way, I really transmigrated." Then La Yunqi gradually accepted the truth, and recalled the details related to this world. The original novel of this web drama is a story about the male lead's struggle to climb the ranks. I have a deep impression. Because of the male lead's ex-wife, who is the vicious female supporting role with the same name as me, also named La Yunqi, the marriage certificate flashed in her mind. Along with the background of the characters here, the male lead Han Yi is dirt poor. When his parents were alive, they had a marriage agreement with the Law family in the neighboring village. Unfortunately, the relationship between the two wasn't very good. La Yunqi was used to living a prosperous life. After marrying over, she jumped into the river for 3 days and tied a rope around her neck for 2 days, making the Han family uneasy. So what had to come, came. Han Yi couldn't stand it anymore, and finally divorced her. What happened after that was exactly like the popular novels of the same era. Not long after, Han Yi rose to the sky in one step, passing the imperial examination with the highest score. The final fate of the characters was clear in La Yunqi's mind. Later, he held great power, becoming the youngest prime minister of the Tianlong kingdom, and married the 9th princess. While this La Yunqi fell into poverty, depression, and died. At the same time, the pain on her body made La Yunqi couldn't help but take a deep breath. "Shoo, no wonder my neck is a little sore." She reached out and touched the red mark on her fair neck, and speculated in a low voice, "Looks like La Yunqi went wild again just now, the rope must have broken." And she fainted. These two children must have helped her onto the bed. Seeing her sister-in-law was still silent, Han Rong tiptoed closer to the bed. "Sister-in-law." La Yunqi clearly saw the apprehension in the little girl's eyes, so she gently reached out to stroke her head. "Don't worry, I'm fine." Suddenly, Han Mo stepped forward and pulled his sister's hand hard. Rong. But La Yunqi wasn't uncomfortable with the boy's attitude. In the novel, the original owner hated Han Ye's family, and was always raging, but the younger sister Han Rong was still young, innocent and lively, and always wanted to approach the original owner. She glanced at the two minor characters, the second child of the Han family, Han Mo, and the third child of the Han family, Han Rong, then continued to think of some information. And the older brother Han Mo, 2 years older, was very wary of La Yunqi. Just then, the quiet space was broken by the synchronous gurgling sounds coming from the stomachs of the 3 people. Then La Yunqi casually stretched and stood up. "You two must be hungry, I'll go to the kitchen to see if there's anything good to eat," not noticing the somewhat meaningful look in the eyes of the 2 children beside her. She was still preoccupied with her own thoughts. "Speaking of which, I've been delivering goods all day and haven't eaten anything. I should fill my stomach first and then think." Before long, the group had arrived in the kitchen, which was empty and even had cobwebs hanging from the ceiling. This scene left La Yunqi speechless. "I almost forgot." Han Yi was really poor before he succeeded. At this moment, a familiar voice rang in her ears. Ting, welcome, please take your temperature and wear a mask. She tilted her head, puzzled, the reminder in front of the supermarket? Am I going deaf? Suddenly, a gust of wind blew. Li Yunqi squinted and covered her face. In that instant, a scene appeared, making her blue eyes widen. The familiar notification sound of the system appeared again. Welcome to the supermarket system. System rules: if the male lead Han Ye's affection for Li Yunqi increases, the supermarket will put some food on the shelves. If the affection decreases, the supermarket will remove some food from the shelves. The current affection has decreased from 100 to 25 points. Li Yunqi was stunned by the magnificent scene before her, no longer in the mood to pay attention to the words. What is this situation? Why did the modern supermarket appear here? Moreover, it seems only I can see it. She carefully reached out to touch the round eggs in front of her. Is this an illusion or is it real? Could it be that I'm so hungry that I'm hallucinating? But the rough texture her hand felt made her eyes light up. This feeling, it's real chicken eggs, but this was too unbelievable. But even something like transmigration can happen. Having a supermarket doesn't seem impossible either. Only the current situation made Li Yunqi sigh. Unfortunately, only a bag of cornstarch, 6 chicken eggs, and 2 cabbages are left on the shelves. There are no other goods. Suddenly, Han Rong and Han Mo called loudly outside the kitchen. Big brother. She was startled and turned around. The system immediately disappeared. At the door stood a handsome and tall young man. This person was none other than the eldest son of the Han family, Li Yunqi's husband, Han Yi. Han Mo and Han Rong happily ran over. Brother, you're back. He chuckled and asked his siblings, were you too good today? At this time, Li Yunqi gently lifted the curtain and walked out of the kitchen. Han Ye's appearance immediately captured her girlish heart. The young man is so handsome, eyebrows like swords, eyes like stars, face like carved jade. He really looked exactly like the description in the novel. It was just that the current appearance of the other party was just a poor woodcutter. Even if Li Yunqi knew, she wouldn't dare to believe this is the famous prime minister of the future. In just a short period of time, this person would rise against the odds to become the famous prime minister of the empire. Li Yunqi secretly hid the chicken eggs she had just taken from the supermarket in her clothes. Then she gracefully bowed to Han Yi. Husband, you're back, you must be tired. Unable to help but laugh in her heart, the thick thigh of the future prime minister is right in front of me. How can I not hug it? But her strange behavior only made Han Yi frown more vigilantly. He bluntly asked back loudly, why are you suddenly caring about me, while stretching out his arms to stand in front of his 2 younger siblings, acting protectively. The notification sound of the system appeared again. The male lead's affection decreased by 5 points, removing cabbage from the shelves. This information successfully turned Li Yunqi into a stone statue, unable to help but curse in her head. What the hell? I care about him and he's not happy? Moreover, the few goods on the shelves were missing an ingredient, cabbage. The cabbage is really gone, both cabbages are gone. Then she began to think of the worst future. Unexpectedly, the food on the shelves is related to Han Ye's affection. This fact made Li Yunqi want to cry but no tears came out. If Han Yi keeps hating me, will the supermarket ever run out of food? Wouldn't I be hungry then? The suspicious attitude of the 3 people opposite her was increasing. There's no free lunch. If she's not a villain, she's a thief. This seemingly convincing accusation made Li Yunqi stunned. She glumly thought to herself, could it be that I didn't smile right just now, or should I try again? Then she put on a stiff smile, trying to salvage the situation. No, husband, you should go in and rest, I'll cook for you 3. Unfortunately, in Han Ye's eyes, this action of hers was no different from teasing others, Li Yunqi. He clenched his fists, even more angry. What tricks are you playing? As soon as these words were spoken, the familiar voice of the system followed. The male lead's affection decreased by 10 points, removing cornstarch from the shelves. The image of the familiar ingredient saying bye-bye and flying into the sky with wings broke Li Yunqi's heart. No, my heart is bleeding. This Han Yi is really unreasonable. Next time before talking to him, I must take the food out first. Han Rong clasped her hands and looked at Han Yi with hopeful eyes. Big brother, didn't you bring back rice? Han Mo then grabbed his brother's hand and smiled bitterly. Big brother, did you not sell the firewood? Han Yi sighed, not saying yes or no, but changed the subject. When Big Brother came back, I picked some wild vegetables and dug up some potatoes. Tonight we'll have wild vegetable soup and steamed potatoes. These words were no different from a confirmation, making La Yunqi's heart soften and she exhaled. Then she somewhat reluctantly took out what she had just gotten from the system. Wait, there are still some chicken eggs here. Frying them up can at least add one dish. I'll think of another way tomorrow. In her heart, she resentfully puffed out her cheeks. Anyway, the supermarket doesn't have anything else. I don't need to pretend to smile at Hanyi anymore. Hanyi suspiciously looked at the luxurious food in the other party's hand. Chicken eggs? Meanwhile, Han Mo swallowed his saliva and quietly made a small sound. Han Rong's eyes sparkled as she stared at it. There's chicken eggs to eat, that's great. La Yunqi smiled and stroked the little girl's head. Now sister-in-law will cook for you three. It'll be done soon. The little girl jumped up happily. Thank you, sister-in-law. Before she could turn around to go to the kitchen, her arm was grabbed by Hanyi. Wait. He suspiciously pulled her back towards him. Where did these chicken eggs come from? This overbearing attitude made La Yunqi rudely shake off his hand. Can't I buy them with my own money? Constantly grumbling in her heart. Give me back my cornstarch. Suddenly, she remembered her current situation. Not good. Was I too fierce just now? I bet the affection will decrease. Only the development was completely different from La Yunqi's speculation. Hanyi crossed his arms and nodded. Yeah, this is more like it. Her mind was spinning, not understanding what was going on, so the affection didn't decrease. How arrogant was the original owner before? La Yunqi lifted the curtain and went into the kitchen, glancing at the other party while planning for the future. It's just that not decreasing is not enough. I still need to think of ways to increase Hanya's affection, so the supermarket can have more food. There's still a long way to go ahead. After a series of clattering sounds of cooking, before long, 3 hot dishes were out of the oven. Among them was the delicious, golden, shiny fried eggs. Then they were arranged on the table in the middle of the living room, 3 plates of steamed potatoes, wild vegetable soup, and eggs fried with the last bit of oil. Though simple, looked very appealing. But no one ate first. Instead, Han Mo timidly pushed the plate of eggs towards La Yunqi, startling her. Sister-in-law, you eat first. The other party's slow actions made Hanyi frown uncomfortably. What are you spacing out for? Isn't it the rule you set, forcing yourself to eat your fill first? Otherwise we 3 can't touch the chopsticks? At this time, La Yunqi scratched her face guiltily, unable to help but blame in her heart. I remember, the original owner always made this family eat her leftovers. It's really too hateful. Then she tried to salvage some face for this identity, smiling and pushing the plate of food back to the 2 children. From now on, abolish that rule. Push, Moer and Ronger are still in the development stage. They have to eat more. You 2 eat quickly. It had been a long time since Han Mo and Han Rong had eaten such a full meal. The eyes of the 2 children were sparkling, unable to restrain themselves from cheering. La Yunqi knew they were still apprehensive, so she gently and affectionately urged, eat quickly. Can you get full just by looking? Hearing this, Han Rong brightly picked up her chopsticks. Thank you, sister-in-law. Han Mo, though still a little shy, still took the bowl of eggs and muttered, thank you. La Yunqi's friendly attitude made Hanyi frown and speculate. La Yunqi, you didn't poison the eggs, did you? Before he could finish speaking, he was interrupted by her chewing sounds. Won't you eat quickly, or it'll get cold later? Hanyi had no choice but to listen. Okay. Even though La Yunqi ate the eggs herself, he still looked suspiciously at the food. It's really strange. Why did she change her personality today? Of course, she saw all of the other party's childish actions. Even though she was very angry, she still tried to maintain a smile. In her heart she began to greet his ancestors. I'm so generous, taking all the few chicken eggs left in the supermarket and sharing them, yet you still suspect me. Do you want me to die of anger? Suddenly, the system popped up and threw out a notification. The male lead's affection increased by 5 points. Cabbage reappeared on the shelves. This sudden change made La Yunqi choke and cough violently. Cough cough cough. Hanyi worriedly stepped forward to pat his wife's back. Are you all right? Han Rong saw her sister-in-law coughing nonstop, so she quickly asked, Sister-in-law, are you all right? La Yunqi tried to reply. Cough cough, I'm fine. Then she stood up and turned to go to the kitchen. Cough cough, I'll go pour some water. In her heart she was still skeptical. Why is this affection like a roller coaster? Sometimes increasing and sometimes decreasing? Perhaps because she was too preoccupied with thinking, she accidentally bumped into the lips of the person standing right behind her. This light touch made her heart beat wildly, as if she had drunk a stimulant. Thump thump, La Yunqi said shyly, you. Hanyi on the opposite side wasn't much better. He also heard the rumbling sound from his chest. Thump thump, then he stammered, I. At this moment, a delicious piece of egg suddenly fell next to Han Mo's hand. The boy blankly opened his mouth wide, as if not daring to believe his eyes, while Han Rong happily hugged her cheeks and exclaimed, "Ooh, big brother and sister-in-law kissed." This sensitive word made La Yunqi's face flush, and she escaped from her previous emotions. She lowered her head and hurriedly turned to go to the kitchen. You three eat quickly." Even though she tried her best to keep her voice calm when saying the sentence, "I'll go get some water," her stiff movements and hands and feet revealed all the emotions in her heart. La Yunqi's attitude made Han Yi fall into contemplation. Was she just embarrassed? Before, when I accidentally touched her hand while working, she was so angry that she almost destroyed the house. What's wrong with her tonight? The crescent moon still peacefully shone its bright light in the night sky, as if not witnessing the embarrassing scene just now in the small house. La Yunqi stood in the kitchen. Even though she had drunk a mouthful of water, it still couldn't help her face stop blushing. What the hell, a modern 20-year-old like me accidentally bumped heads, what's there to be embarrassed about? Suddenly, a scene caught her eye, making her surprised. A question simultaneously appeared in her mind. Although the appearance hasn't changed, it seems to be a little more beautiful. La Yunqi brought her face close to the water vat, looking at her new appearance in this world. Maybe it's because the original owner was thin, so her eyes look a little bigger. Her nose a little higher. La Yunqi couldn't help but feel emotional about her new appearance. Looking like this, the original owner can also be considered a classical beauty. The more she spoke, the more she learned the truth of the matter. The original owner was so arrogant. Han Yi could still tolerate it for a year. Could it be because of this beautiful face? Men. Just then, the firewood chopper suddenly lifted the curtain and walked in, startling the little cat. La Yunqi, are you done? Why haven't you come back to eat? She flusteredly waved her hands. Suddenly I'm not hungry anymore. You three eat, don't worry about me. Unexpectedly, this action in Han Ye's eyes had a different meaning. She doesn't want me to get close to her. He coldly turned away, but the words that followed revealed his concern. I left some food for you. Go eat a little. After I clean the dishes, I'll help Emoer and Ronger take a bath. They should go to sleep. La Yunqi fearfully repeated those words, go to sleep. In her heart she realized a terrifying truth. That's right, what should I do when I go to sleep at night? Really share a blanket with him? Romantic images and random thoughts began to swirl in her head. I remember, that kind of intimate thing, the two of them since they got married until now, have never had it. But just now Han Ye's affection increased. Wouldn't he ask me to fulfill the obligations of a wife tonight? That dark night, before long, the two children Han Rong and Han Mo had fallen asleep, snoring. Han Yi considerately adjusted their sleeping positions and covered his adorable little sister with a blanket. Meanwhile, La Yunqi was sewing and sighing. Hey, I originally thought to wait for Han Yi to sleep before I went to sleep, so I dawdled and did some embroidery. It was just that man proposes, but God disposes. Who knew he would dawdle even more than her? Knowing this earlier, I should have slept with Emoer and Ronger. Now there's no room to squeeze in anymore. The distance between the two people right now was probably about 1,000,000 meters, sitting so far away from me, as if I would eat him, although a little puzzling. She was secretly relieved. However, it seems he doesn't want to be intimate with me right now. I'll be safe for a short period of time. Suddenly, Han Yi turned to look at La Yunqi. Their eyes accidentally met, startling her. But the other party didn't say anything, just turned back to knit the unfinished bag in his hand. At this point La Yunqi had really lost all patience. Hey, big brother, are you still knitting? How late do you want to stay up? I'm so sleepy. Just complaining in her heart wasn't the way. She decided to stand up. Then she leaned close to Han Ye's ear and softly asked, Hey, aren't you asleep yet? He strangely turned his head. Then he said uncomfortably something very obvious. What's wrong with you today? Usually you go to sleep first before I can go to bed. Finally knowing the reason, and the reason was her, La Yunqi tiredly held her head and said, I was wrong before, okay? Please go to sleep. Han Yi still didn't stop the movements of his hands. While working he asked back, Are you sure you won't be like last time, tricking me into lying down, and then finding fault to argue with me? My younger brother and sister are still young, I don't want to scare them. In his heart he was becoming more and more dissatisfied. This is also the reason why I always put up with you before. La Yunqi, exhausted, pulled the person opposite her towards the bed. I won't, hurry up and go, don't dawdle anymore. Han Yi, although a little puzzled, still obediently listened. Okay, I'll listen to you. He quickly unfastened the belt of his clothes. Then he swept his long hair back, a very dashing movement. The old black cloth was gradually taken off, revealing the strong body inside. La Yunqi, who was lowering the curtain, couldn't help but blush and glance. So he's the type who looks thin when he's wearing clothes, but has muscles when he takes them off. Then she whispered an order, you sleep inside. In fact, she also had her own plan. If I sleep outside, it'll be easier to run out if something happens. Han Yu politely replied, okay, you should sleep early too. Then he lay down and closed his eyes tightly. But just a second later, he opened his eyes and glanced outside. La Yunqi's figure was reflected on the separating curtain, making Han Yu purse his lips and think, she's very strange tonight, I can't really sleep. He frowned and said to himself, I have to be careful that she doesn't take advantage of me while I'm asleep and kill her husband. She was about to go to sleep when she suddenly sneezed loudly. Waiting until she heard steady breathing from inside, La Yunqi gently lifted the curtain. Speaking of which, this scene is very familiar. Tonight is probably the content of chapter 3 in the novel. The plot of this period of time gradually reappeared in her mind. Actually, Han Yu sold firewood for a few coins today. But the author couldn't possibly let the plot go by so simply. On the way home, he ran into a mysterious character. It was a fake beggar running away from disaster, about to die from illness. Han Yu gave away those few coins without hesitation. Then he gently instructed the other party, old man, take this money to buy some food and medicine. Then he turned and left, not knowing that he had just done a good deed. La Yunqi pondered and remembered further, although I only read half of the novel, I know. This fake beggar actually has a different identity. Later he will be Han Yu's benefactor. He will sponsor the fees for Han Yu to study at the academy 3 months later. He seemed satisfied and smiled looking at the coins in his hand. La Yunqi gently pushed Han Yu further inside, then sat down to plan for the future. However, I still have to think of ways to earn some money to cover the household expenses. So Han Yu can study in peace. If things go quickly, I might be able to make it in time for the provincial exam in the fall. If he passes, he can participate in the palace exam in the fall of next year. Although she was lying quietly on the bed, she couldn't help but analyze, which means, I only need to support him for a year and a half, then I don't need to worry about the rest of my life. It's a bargain no matter how you think about it. La Yunqi muttered her last words, but Han Yu's affection right now is only 15 points, a rather dangerous number. Luckily tonight can be considered a small harvest. It will definitely get better and better in the future. Then she fell asleep, not knowing when the quilt on her body had fallen off. In her sleep, she seemed to feel the gentle movements of the person next to her. It seems like someone put something on me, so warm. Unconsciously, the system also appeared. Han Yu's affection increased by 5 points. Cornstarch returned to the shelves. Han Yu silently looked at La Yunqi, who was snoring on the bed. Since we got married, this is the first time I can look at her quietly. He pursed his lips and thought to himself, actually, La Yunqi's personality is very different from when she was young. His eyes involuntarily looked at the red mark on her neck. Most likely it was caused by her biased father. Han Yu vaguely recalled what he knew. La Yunqi's biological mother died early. Her father finished the funeral hastily. Before 5 days had passed, he was anxious to bring a concubine home. At that time the small La Yunqi was holding her mother's memorial tablet alone. Then her situation in that house was also very bad. Not only that, for many years, her father always allowed her stepmother and younger sister born from the stepmother to act recklessly. The 180-degree change in fate of this young lady made Han Yu feel emotional. La Yunqi's life isn't easy either. The appearance of her fainting that day flashed in his mind. Remember on the wedding day, her stepmother even cut back on the dowry that her biological mother left for her. Tears welled up in his eyes, making Han Yu couldn't help but sigh. Her father even cruelly drugged her, hiring a donkey to carry her to our village. Thinking of this, Han Yu secretly made a decision. It really makes people feel sorry for her, no matter what, as long as she treats my younger brother and sister sincerely. I, Han Yu, will not let her down, but if she harms us, I will not show mercy. At this moment, La Yunqi suddenly hummed, then unconsciously rolled over. Taking the opportunity to wrap her arms around the person next to her, her breathing was a little uneven. Han Yu startled and turned his face in the opposite direction. Did I make her noisy? Is she really asleep or pretending to be asleep? La Yunqi, while hugging his arm tightly, muttered nonstop, hamburger, fried chicken, French fries, malatang. These words in Han Yu's ears made him doubt his life. I seem to hear, chicken, she must be really asleep, talking in her sleep because she's hungry. It seemed that this human-shaped pillow was too warm, so La Yunqi suddenly rested her leg on a place she shouldn't have touched. Hanya's face flushed red, he rolled over and turned his back to her. In his heart he couldn't help but sigh, how am I going to get through tonight? The next morning, the sound of a rooster crowing echoed throughout the space, successfully waking La Yunqi from her daze. She startled awake, it's time to open the supermarket, there's a chicken egg promotion today, I have to get up early to line up. The scene of ancient tiles came into view, making her hum softly. Then she comfortably turned over to sleep again. I almost forgot, I've transmigrated, there's nothing in the house, I don't need to open the supermarket anymore. Before she could fall back asleep, the handsome face close to her side made La Yunqi jump. Huh? What's going on? Didn't we each have a quilt last night? She flusteredly sat up, intending to get out of bed. In her heart she was still skeptical, since when did we share a quilt? But fate seemed to be playing tricks, her clothes were pressed down by Hanya's leg. La Yunqi lost her balance because she was entangled and fell backward. Ah. Then she landed right on Hanya's chest in a perfect pose. At this time she still hadn't realized her situation, only cried out in pain, Just as she was about to prop herself up, unexpectedly the other party also woke up. The two fell into a situation of four eyes facing each other, their hearts couldn't help but beat wildly. Thump thump, thump thump. La Yunqi blushed and panicked, screaming and struggling with Hanyi to get up. Then she shyly fiddled with her hair, pretending to be calm and asked, are you awake? Hanyi was no better than her, also fumbling and replied, yeah, it's this late. I should go up the mountain to chop firewood. He, while putting on his clothes, was secretly skeptical. What was she mumbling about just now? What is a supermarket? At this moment, Han Rong's tender voice rang outside, sister-in-law, are you awake? Then the little girl smiled and lifted the curtain to come in. Please wash your face. Han Mo was walking in front, his hands trembling, trying to carry a big basin of water almost as big as himself. This scene made La Yunqi couldn't help but feel distressed in her heart. It seems this is another rule that the original owner made. The original owner is really. How can she be so heartless to make such a young child serve her? Thinking this, she quickly reached out to help Han Mo. This basin is too heavy, give it to me. The two children were extremely surprised by this action. Then La Yunqi did something even more unexpected. She hugged the two children in front of her, and whispered, in the future, sister-in-law will do this, Moer just needs to take care of his younger sister, understand? The image of the original owner like a snarling demon reappeared. Every morning when I open my eyes, I have to see the two of you standing beside the bed with a basin of water, do you hear me? This 180-degree reversal made Han Mo frown and ask clearly, but didn't sister-in-law always make us serve you to wash your face after you woke up? Even though La Yunqi knew the other party was very excessive, hearing it recounted still made her feel emotional. Was it that scary? Even Han Rong didn't dare to be happy about this change. She clenched her fingers and stammered, did Ronger do something wrong again? Sadness flashed in the innocent eyes of the other party. Does sister-in-law hate Ronger very much? This self-deprecating question made La Yunqi couldn't help but be stunned. Then her heart softened and she comforted the little girl. Silly child, why would sister-in-law hate Ronger? I like Ronger so much. La Yunqi completely knelt down to hug Han Rong. Ronger and Moer didn't do anything wrong. It was sister-in-law who was wrong. From now on, I will definitely treat you and your two older brothers well. At this moment, the system suddenly announced, the male lead's affection increased by 5 points, chicken eggs, potatoes, 5 spice powder on the shelves. La Yunqi surprisingly opened the supermarket shelves to verify these words. Hanyi standing beside her coughed softly and suggested, you rest more, I'll help you cook breakfast this morning. Before she could be happy about the increase in points, she was startled by these words, no need, just let me cook. Then she hurriedly turned and went into the kitchen, her thoughts spinning in her head. He doesn't have the supermarket system, he can't get delicious food. It seems Hanyi still has some emotional foundation for La Yunqi. The affection is increasing not slowly. At this time a flame of hope burst in her heart. According to this progress, there is hope for 4 meat dishes and 1 soup. Before long, La Yunqi had finished breakfast. Let's eat. Hot bowls of egg noodles with shredded cabbage were beautifully arranged. This satisfying meal made Han Rong cheer. Sister-in-law, today not only has chicken eggs. The little girl looked at it carefully and happily finished the rest of the sentence, but there are also noodles to eat. Han Rong's enthusiasm seemed to be transmitted to La Yunqi. She affectionately stroked the little girl's head. Eat quickly, it won't be delicious if it gets cold. But Hanyi couldn't accept these dishes so calmly. It's not even summer yet, Where did this fresh cabbage come from, and this fine cornstarch to make noodles? There was clearly no food in the kitchen before. A series of questions made La Yunqi speechless. In her head she began to remember. I don't know if it was because I unconsciously slept in his quilt last night. Hanye's affection increased, so the cabbage and cornstarch that were removed from the shelves last night reappeared on the shelves. Then she gave a cold explanation. These things are from a commotion I made at my parents' house before, forcibly borrowed from my parents' house. I originally wanted to hide them and eat them alone. But later I wanted to live a good life, so I took them out to share. In her heart she could only sigh. I can't tell Hanyi about me having the supermarket system. This guy is not easy to deceive. I can only muddle through like this. Only unexpectedly, Hanyi really believed what she said. So that's how it is. You remember what you took. Wait for me to sell firewood and earn money today. I'll pay it back. Don't go back to your parents' house to borrow things in the future. We'll take care of our own lives. La Yunqi breathed a sigh of relief, waved her hands, acting as if she was annoyed. Listen to you, eat quickly. In her heart she couldn't help but praise. This guy has backbone. It seems the reason of borrowing from my parents' house can't be used for long. I have to quickly think of ways to earn money. At this moment, Han Rong discovered something strange. Sister-in-law, where are your noodles? The simple bowl in stark contrast to the golden color of the remaining three made her question, why are you only eating thin wild vegetable soup? La Yunqi awkwardly smiled and explained vaguely, I don't want to, you three don't need to worry about me. In her heart she began to give herself a round of applause. I'm really too great. Actually I'm also hungry, but there's not much cornstarch. I still have to use it sparingly. Moreover, La Yunqi felt that it was okay for her to skip a meal, wait for Hanyi to earn money and come back tonight, then I'll have a full meal. Anyway, in modern times I've eaten everything. The three siblings of the Han family are always hungry. It was just that she didn't expect the development that followed. Han Mo darkened his face and put down his chopsticks. If you don't eat, we won't either. Han Rong nodded in agreement. That's right. La Yunqi happily looked at the two children in front of her. Ronger, Moer. This warm feeling helped her make a decision. Even without Hanyi, I must try my best to raise these two obedient and sensible children, and cultivate them into talents. At this moment, Hanyi turned his face away and pushed the bowl of noodles towards her. I haven't touched it, you eat it. She was extremely surprised by this action. Before she could say anything, suddenly the system panel appeared before her eyes. Along with it was the very familiar mechanical voice. The male lead's affection increased by 5 points. Eggplant, greens, pumpkin, sweet potato on the shelves. La Yunqi couldn't restrain her excitement, slamming the table and standing up. Hanyi, I. But this shout made Hanyi frown vigilantly. What do you want to do? The system accordingly announced weakly. The male lead's affection decreased by 10 points. Removing eggplant and pumpkin from the shelves. This roller coaster state made La Yunqi tired and supported her forehead. You have to work to earn money. Ronger and Moer are in the development stage. No one can lack nutrition. So you three eat the noodles. As soon as she finished speaking, a heavy teardrop fell pat onto the table. Then she glanced resentfully at Hanyi. I just wanted to say this. He was so wary. Could it be that I'm going to eat him? Deep down in her heart she struggled to shout. Give me back my eggplant. Give me back my pumpkin. This unexpected appearance made Hanyi jump up, but he didn't know what to do. He stood there silently thinking. Before, she always cried in a way that one cries. 2 makes trouble, and 3 wants to end her life. This is the first time I've seen her cry like this. Could it be that I scared her just now? At this time, Han Rong gently hugged La Yunqi and comforted. Sister-in-law, why are you crying? Don't cry, Ronger will be good. She smiled and wiped her tears and replied. I'm fine. Sand got in my eyes. Han Mo angrily turned to urge his brother. Big brother, hurry up and say something nice. Hanyi didn't know what to say. He only knew to take out a handkerchief and give it to La Yunqi. Then he bent down and apologized softly. Yunqi, don't cry. It was my fault just now. These intimate words made her stunned for a moment. Then she shyly reached out to take the cloth. He changed my name again. Seeing that the other party accepted his goodwill, Hanyi immediately picked up the basket and rushed out the door. Don't worry, I'll definitely buy rice back today. La Yunqi flusteredly called out. Hey, wait, you didn't eat much last night. You're going to chop firewood without eating anything today. Your body can't take it. But he didn't bother to listen and left. She sighed and sat back at the table. Forget it, let's eat first. At the same time she didn't feel worried. Hanyi has the protagonist's halo. There's no way he'll die. La Yunqi looked at the 2 children next to her. It's still better to worry about these two children more. Suddenly a wave of sadness rose again, making her want to cry, but no tears came out. My poor eggplant and pumpkin were removed from the shelves. In her heart, she respectfully erected a simple tomb for the two delicious but unfortunate foods. That afternoon, Yunchi quickly took a head of cabbage out of the supermarket. She carefully wrapped them tightly while analyzing the system rules. Didn't Hanyi give me a handkerchief just now and call my name, but pumpkin and eggplant didn't appear again on the shelves? It seems I'm not lucky every time. Then she hid the package of food deep in the kitchen. Her thoughts still continued. Speaking of which, Hanya's mind is very deep. It seems that I have to take it slowly to gain his trust. Yunchi observed her small family property, then took a bamboo basket to prepare to cover it. However, the food that goes on the shelves in the future must be taken out immediately. To avoid repeating the same mistake, wait for Hanyi to sell firewood, buy rice back, add up all this food, I can eat my fill for the next 2 days. Just as she finished the action, a heartbreaking cry came from outside, making her turn around quickly. It's Ronger's voice. Right in the middle of the deserted road in the village, 3 small figures appeared there. The sound of the wind whistling and Han Rong sobbing echoed around, wah wah. But the wind seemed a little strong, dissolving the other party's crying, so no adults paid attention. The little girl squatted on the ground, her small body trembling with each sob, wah 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 wah. Han Mo angrily pounced on the fat kid opposite him. You're not allowed to bully my younger sister. Even though his figure was nothing compared to the other party, Han Mo still bravely pushed hard at his shoulder. Give me back my doll. That person was the neighbor's child named Dezongzi. He went crazy and swung his fist back in retaliation. Oh, you skinny guy still wants to fight with me, you want a beating. Han Mo clearly heard the sound of the wind approaching, but only knew to grit his teeth and use his arms to block in front of him. Hateful. At this moment, Dezongzi's fat arm was grabbed, along with a very familiar voice to the Han brothers. Whose naughty child is this? This situation made Han Mo surprised and opened his eyes wide. After clearly seeing that the person who came was Yunchi, he trembled and softly called, sister-in-law. She didn't respond to that call, but directly pulled Dezongzi high. You still dare to touch my younger brother and sister, don't blame me for being impolite to you. Causing him to scream, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. Suddenly a shrill voice came from somewhere, in broad daylight. It turned out to be the neighbor and Dezongzi's mother, Li Ernyang. She rushed out from somewhere with a ladle. Who's farting here? Not bothering who was right or wrong, she yelled to take the initiative. You two fatherless and motherless kids from your family, it's okay to beat you. I want to see who dares to touch my darling son. These words and outrageous attitude made Yunchi even more uncomfortable. She directly pushed Dezongzi to the ground. What if I touch your son? You're not allowed to hit my younger brother and sister. Li Ernyang panicked to support him, but it was too late. My son. Dezongzi's whole round body slammed hard on the ground, making a heavy thud. Mom, my butt hurts, Mom. At this time, she couldn't bear it anymore, raising the ladle in her hand to attack. Yunchi, this isn't La Family Village. Honey spoils you, I won't spoil you. But she wasn't afraid, directly knocking the weapon out of her hand, and raised her voice to provoke. Then you come over and try. The wooden ladle was knocked against the wall and fell to the ground, shattering in front of Li Ernyang's terrified eyes. Taking advantage of her daze, Yunchi stepped forward and kicked her hard in the stomach. Today I'll teach you a lesson. Then mother and son fell backward on the ground. Ouch, Dezongzi worriedly shouted. Mom, are you okay? Mom, Li Ernyang, while rubbing her back, was secretly puzzled. This little girl was clearly a weak young lady before, not knowing how to do anything. Where did she get so much strength today? She knew she couldn't win, so she started to change tactics, while kowtowing and yelling loudly. Where are all the people? Come here and see. The daughter-in-law of the Han family is bullying people. She wants to kill people. Yunchi is relying on her wealthy parents' home. She wants to kill someone. Before long, the commotion on this side successfully attracted the villagers around. What's going on? What's wrong with Li Ernyang again? Unfortunately, no one took her side. Isn't it because Dezongzi from her family is bullying the children of the Han family again? They just curiously gathered around and talked. But didn't that Yunchi not like those two children? Why is she soloing with Li Ernyang for those two children today? That shrill voice made Yunchi very uncomfortable. She darkened her face and cracked her knuckles. Stop talking nonsense there. If it wasn't for your naughty son bullying my younger brother and sister. First, I wouldn't bother with a shrew like you. You quickly tell your son to apologize to my younger brother and sister. Of course, Li Ernyang wouldn't admit her guilt. Apologize to your mother. who saw my son bullying them, Dezongzi, supported by her, began to raise his voice. That's right, I didn't bully them. La Yunqi had to admire the shamelessness of these two people. She laughed coldly and bluntly exposed. My Ronger's doll is still hanging on your son's belt. You still say he didn't bully my Ronger. And Amor, lying will make you go to the 18 levels of hell, how about it? She gnashed her teeth and launched the decisive blow. Do you dare to use your son's life to bet? At this time Dezongzi also panicked and turned to look at the doll on his waist. But Li Ernyang was speechless and couldn't refute. You. In her heart she cursed La Yunqi 100 times. This little girl only dared to be arrogant in front of the Han family since she married here. She still couldn't believe everything that was happening. In front of outsiders, she didn't dare to raise her head, and didn't dare to say a word. Why did she become so vicious today? Not suffering at all, suddenly La Yunqi noticed the gleaming sickle in the hand of the person next to her. Then, without hesitation, she snatched it away in front of the owner, only leaving a sentence, lend it to me. The two mothers and sons Li Ernyang saw that the other party had a weapon in her hand, and was approaching with murderous intent, so they huddled together in fear. What do you want to do? La Yunqi gritted her teeth and uttered 2 words, apologize, while swinging the sickle straight at them. They didn't dare to resist, only knew to hug each other and tremble. This terrifying action successfully shattered Dezongzi's defense line. He burst into tears, his face full of tears. I was wrong, I shouldn't have robbed Han Rong's doll. I shouldn't have pushed Han Mo. As soon as he finished speaking, he was pinched hard on the cheek by Li Ernyang. You useless thing, why did you fall for it? Dezongzi couldn't bear the pain, so he screamed and released the doll. Wah. The two mothers and sons hurriedly ran home, not forgetting to throw back a threatening sentence. Hey La, you wait for me, this isn't over. La Yunqi bent down to pick up Han Rong's doll. Then she smirked and replied, I'm ready anytime. Then she turned to return the sickle to the villager just now. Thank you, old man. The people surrounding her whispered to each other. It's true that the fierce are afraid of the desperate. Is this still Hanya's wife? Why does she seem like a different person? There were also people who were worried about La Yunqi, but behind that Li Ernyang, she has someone backing her. Today Lan Yangzi offended her, I'm afraid she will be retaliated against. They talked about something else, but La Yunqi didn't pay attention to it. Only focusing on asking her 2 children, Ronger, Mor, are you hurt? Let sister-in-law check. Han Mo lowered his head, his voice tearful as if he was about to cry. Sister-in-law, didn't you tell us before that we shouldn't fight back, to avoid hurting people? We can't afford to compensate. La Yunqi breathed a sigh of relief, then reached out to stroke his head. I made a lot of mistakes before, it won't be like that in the future. You did very well today. Mor, if someone bullies your younger sister in the future, just hit that person, don't be afraid, I'm here. As soon as she finished speaking, Han Rong couldn't help but pounce over to hug her. Wah, sister-in-law is so good. La Yunqi squatted down to comfort the little girl. Ronger, be good, don't cry anymore. I know Big Brother is usually busy chopping firewood, you two don't want to add more burden to Big Brother. So even if you suffer grievances, you endure and don't say anything, right? In the future, I will come forward to protect you too, and won't let you suffer grievances anymore. This way of handling things successfully changed Han Mo's perspective. Sister-in-law, he thought to himself, when Ronger and I were very young, our parents passed away. The boy vaguely remembered the kind but somewhat distant figure in his memory. It was Big Brother who raised us, so our impression of mom is very vague, although sister-in-law suddenly changed her personality. I always have reservations about sister-in-law. Han Mo was thinking while looking at the 2 people opposite him, but the way sister-in-law comforted Ronger just now, La Yunqi was still soothing Han Rong, don't cry anymore. Suddenly, 2 lines of tears flowed down Han Mo's cheeks. It really looks a little like. La Yunqi at the same time gently smiled and reached out towards him. Alright, let's go home. Her appearance coincided with the person that Han Mo always missed every night, the mother in his memory. After what happened this afternoon, Han Mo no longer hesitated and reached out towards La Yunqi. Then he shyly grabbed her hand. Yes, it was just that the impression in the past was too deep. The boy still didn't completely dare to believe, but Big Brother once said that time will reveal the true nature of a person. I can't completely change my perspective on sister-in-law so quickly, I still have to observe more. La Yunqi smiled, carrying Han Rong and leading Han Mo back. The sun is about to set, your big brother is probably coming back soon. I don't know if your big brother can bring back rice tonight. That night, when the moon hung high in the dark night sky, the 3 of them heard the familiar voice, I'm back. La Yunqi stared at the creature lying on the table. Not only did he buy rice, but he also hunted such a big wild chicken. Han Yi took the cup of water and happily said, "Stew chicken soup tonight, you and the two little ones must be craving meat." La Yunqi happily stood up to take orders. Okay, you three must be hungry. I'll go cook right away." In her heart she couldn't help but rejoice. Why didn't I think of this before? A thought that she thought was a great idea came to mind. Can I ask him to hunt some more wild meat in the forest where he chops firewood to improve the meal? But it was immediately interrupted by Han Mo's worried tone. "Big brother, did you go deep into the forest to hunt this wild chicken, right?" Han Yi was silent and didn't answer, but the movement of his holding the cup of water suddenly stopped, which was the clearest answer. The image of the large animal appeared in Han Mo's mind, along with the mournful cries of the villagers. "There are bears deep in the forest, several people in the village have died." Then the boy worriedly said to his brother, "We don't want meat, we just want Big Brother to be safe. You must never go deep into the forest again." That information startled La Yunqi. There's such a thing. At this time she silently analyzed. No wonder the villagers guarded the forest behind the mountain, but rarely hunted wild meat and brought it back. Han Yi didn't argue with the boy, instead he smiled and agreed. "Okay, Big Brother promises you, but there's chicken to eat tonight, so be happy, okay?" Han Mo felt the warmth on his head, and happily listened. Yes. This harmonious scene made La Yunqi happy too. She picked up the chicken and went straight to the kitchen. "You rest, I'll go cook." While making the food, she suddenly felt puzzled. Strange, if it's so dangerous deep in the forest, why did Han Yi risk going to hunt wild chicken? Clearly rice is enough. Since no one answered her, before long a meal of 3 dishes was completed: chicken stew with potatoes, cornbread, cabbage soup. After dinner, La Yunqi, while sewing, felt satisfied. Since transmigrating, tonight is the first time I've eaten my fill, but I can't continue to let Han Yi risk going to hunt wild meat. Although the current situation is stable, it's still not full enough. Unfortunately, the current shelves of the supermarket are all cheap and large quantities of vegetables and coarse grains. I also don't know if meat and oil can be put on the shelves in the future. Suddenly Hanya's warm voice pulled her out of her thoughts. No one is born good at something. It's only through learning that people can become someone. The two children obediently repeated after their brother. A person who doesn't learn, doesn't know the meaning. La Yunqi looked at the 3 people and assessed. Although Han Yi is poor, he doesn't neglect the education of his younger brother and sister. In addition to reading and knowing words, he also teaches Han Mo archery, swordsmanship and stuff. Remembering Han Mo's talents, she couldn't help but feel emotional. Poor families can't afford to learn these subjects. Myriad thoughts were spinning in La Yunqi's mind, making her couldn't help but be distracted. The original novel didn't say it in detail, but it seems Hanya's background has secrets. Could it be that the Han family is a declining family? Her mind went further and further, or he offended someone in the court and was demoted here, then gradually became poor, when the relationship is a little gentler in the future. I must find an opportunity to ask him. It was just that this staring gaze didn't escape Han Mo's attention. The boy stood up and told Han Yi, "Big brother, it's not early anymore. I'll take Ronger to wash up first. You and sister-in-law should rest early too." Han Yi smiled and stroked the sleepy Han Rong. "Okay." Before leaving, Han Mo leaned close and whispered to Han Yi, "Big brother, sister-in-law has been looking at you all night. In short, Ronger and I will be considerate tonight, and won't disturb you too." After completing the mission, he took his sister's hand and walked out. "Ronger, let's go wash up." The boy's sentence made Hanya's whole face flush. Moer is so young. How does he understand so much? At this moment, La Yunqi waved her hand and called, "Han Yi, come here, I have something important to discuss with you." This coincidental action combined with Han Mo's words made him shy. Could it be that Moer really hit the nail on the head? After sitting down, Han Yi cleared his throat and asked, cough cough, "Did you like the chicken tonight? Although it's not that KFC thing you wanted to eat while talking in your sleep last night. Is that the food that the La family usually eats?" La Yunqi was a little surprised by this familiar and distant term, KFC. Did I talk in my sleep last night because I was hungry? As if realizing something, she suddenly slammed the bed. "So you went to hunt chicken because of my mumbling?" A look of guilt flashed in Hanya's eyes. "You were, after all, a young lady from a wealthy family before. Within my ability, I want to try to satisfy you." Being pampered like this for the first time, La Yunqi was so moved that her heart was beating fast. "It's delicious, thank you." In her heart she was shedding tears of happiness. I like Hanya's repaying kindness. She was so happy that she wanted to jump up. it seems that as long as I can help him become prime minister, he will definitely repay me many times over. This life is really worth looking forward to. Suddenly La Yunqi's gaze touched something new on Hanya's feet. She curiously asked, these are new shoes, I just noticed, who gave them to you? He softly explained to her, it was the younger sister of the Xia family at the head of the village. She often knits small things like straw sandals, baskets, nets, and asks me to bring them to the market to sell for her. La Yunqi's gaze was fixed on it, her voice was even, not hearing any emotion. The workmanship is not bad, looking at it, you can tell she has a lot of experience. She stared at it and continued to give an objective assessment. Moreover, the sole of the shoe is thicker, it must have taken a lot of thought. It was just that these words in Hanya's ears were misunderstood. He quickly waved his hands, don't think too much, this is just returning the kindness, we don't have anything. In his heart he was secretly lamenting, not good, she's probably going to use this to go crazy again. It was naturally because this had happened in the past, so he was so afraid. Before, I saved a little girl who fell into the water, she kept saying that I had impure motives towards that child. That I was a lecher. It was just that this time it was completely different from Hanya's thoughts. La Yunqi excitedly snapped her fingers loudly, that's great, I also know how to knit some small things. You find an opportunity for me to meet the Xia family's younger sister, we'll exchange knitting techniques, I can make money to save tuition for you. These two words made Hanya stunned. Tuition? At this time La Yunqi remembered the purpose of this conversation. That's right, I just wanted to plan for our future. She sincerely told all her plans. Hanya, I know you always want to go to school, in the future the money you earn selling firewood, try to save it, plus the money I earn going to sell knitting with the Xie family's younger sister, quickly save enough money for you to go to town to study, pass the imperial exam. Hanya was so surprised that his eyes and mouth formed an O shape, silently unable to utter a word. Then he hesitated and asked back, didn't you object to me going to school before, and say that even if I learn more, I can't get food, it's better to quickly go earn money? La Yunqi gave a bitter smile and replied vaguely, those were all things from before, don't mention it anymore. Then she gently turned back to the main point, there are houses of golden books, it's the right direction for men to strive to study, you also want to shine, right? Hanya, although puzzled, gradually trusted the person in front of him, she is willing to let me go to school, she can't be acting, right? At this moment, the system appeared again, the male lead's affection increased by 5 points, soybean oil, pork, cornstarch, eggplant, pumpkin on the shelves. La Yunqi happily cheered, oh my god, Hanya is really happy to let him go to school. Looking at the supermarket filled with goods, she seemed to have caught gold. Not only did eggplant and pumpkin reappear on the shelves, even oil and meat are there. She couldn't help but turn to grab his hand tightly. I believe you can definitely pass with high scores, I have high hopes for you. In her heart she began to calculate. I have to quickly strike while the iron is hot, see if I can put some other foods on the shelves. But perhaps this sudden touch made Hanya's head freeze, unable to think of anything other than being stunned. La Yunqi followed his gaze down. Only then did she notice the intimate holding of hands of the two people. She panicked and released her hand. Oh, I was impolite. Hanya smiled and turned back to the main issue. If I can really go to school, I will definitely try to learn. Then he didn't forget to make a promise, but I will also definitely not let you suffer from hunger or cold. While going to school, I will also try to earn money to support the family. La Yunqi crossed her arms, putting on an extremely confident appearance. Don't worry, you won't be hungry. In a few days I'll go back to my mother's house to borrow some rice. Wait for you to go to win fame, then I'll pay it back all at once. In her heart she breathed a sigh of relief. It's often the bookworms who are ungrateful, but Hanya can say these words, proving that he is not a hypocritical and selfish person. And is very responsible. At this moment Hanya suddenly remembered something. Your mother passed away a long time ago, your second mother is in charge of the household now, how can she let you borrow rice? I don't want you to go back and suffer grievances for my studies, I can support the three of you. La Yunqi didn't hide it from him anymore. It's okay, I still have a small box of gold, that's what my mother left for me, I hid it under a tree in my house, if I don't quickly go back and get it, sooner or later it will be taken advantage of by those two mothers and daughters of the Li family. After all, saying this was beneficial to her, so that in the future, no matter what food appears on the table, Hanya won't suspect, the plan is approved. Hanya wasn't so easily trusting, he rubbed his chin and suggested, then I'll go back with you, to avoid you suffering. La Yunqi hurriedly stopped him. No need, no need, I can handle the Law family. You seize the time to try to study. The most important thing is to quickly let me meet the Xia family's younger sister. To discuss business, moreover, people gave you a new pair of shoes, I should also make some cornbread for them. This nonchalant attitude made Han Yi feel a little awkward. She doesn't have the slightest bit of jealousy, shouldn't I be happy? But I don't know why, there seems to be a little discomfort in my heart. Suddenly the cold voice of the system appeared again. The male lead's affection decreased by 2 points, removing pork from the shelves. This verdict stabbed straight into La Yunqi, making her panic and yell in her heart, no, why? La Yunqi was busy with this information, not noticing the lost emotion deep in Han Ye's eyes. The summer night was cool, a light breeze brushed past, making the trees gently sway in the clear sky. In this peaceful third watch of the night, only La Yunqi was not at peace. Her eyes were wide open, her heart was in a mess, unable to sleep, feeling bad about that large piece of meat. Han Ye's mind was really incomprehensible. Hearing a snort from the side, La Yunqi turned her head to look at the back of her bedfellow. Is he asleep? Remembering something, she sat up. That's right, the soybean oil in the supermarket is in a plastic can. I have to take advantage of Han Ye's sleep to quickly go to the kitchen and pour the oil into the oil jar. She tiptoed out of bed. Never before had she felt that she met the standards of walking lightly, speaking softly, and smiling charmingly like now. Otherwise she couldn't explain if he found out. But unfortunately, La Yunqi wasted her effort, because Han Yi hadn't fallen asleep at all. She just put her feet on the ground, and his eyes widened, inside completely without a trace of drowsiness. Han Yi was secretly suspicious. Where does she want to go in the middle of the night? A moment later, a figure suddenly appeared in the dark kitchen. This person was none other than La Yunqi. She poured a whole 5-liter bottle of oil, pouring it all at once into the pottery pot in the house. While pouring she muttered, in the future, I can finally put a little more oil in cooking. Tomorrow I'll find a place to burn the plastic can. Looking at the satisfactory results of her labor, La Yunqi's heart gradually blossomed. The things that went on the shelves before were all coarse foods that only filled the stomach or some cheap vegetables. After the relationship between me and Han Yi softened, the amount of food gradually increased. The types also became more diverse. Even the food of modern times is there. La Yunqi was imagining a bright future, when suddenly a voice rang outside. Big brother, it's midnight, they must be fast asleep. She was startled, and turned quickly towards the door. In front of the door, 2 men with covered faces were standing, not knowing since when. The person holding the knife was Li Ernyang's older brother, Li Daniu. He said hatefully, that bitch of the Han family dared to bully our younger sister. Today we have to make her kowtow and admit her guilt in front of Ernyang, the person who just broke the lock, who was also Ernyang's younger brother. Li Santai continued, but they stewed chicken tonight. I could smell the fragrance from next door. See if we can conveniently take some food back. But the thin cloth on the faces of the 2 people could only cover their faces, not the characteristic petty temperament on their bodies. La Yunqi could tell their identities at a glance. They are Li Ernyang's 2 brothers. They not only climbed over the wall into the yard, but also pried open the lock of our main room. La Yunqi rummaged for a while and then took something. She approached the old curtain, and slowly reached out. Boo, it's Mom here, kids. La Yunqi suddenly appeared in front of the Li brothers. But she overestimated her fighting power. La Yunqi was grabbed by Li Santai before she could take action. Even her mouth was covered. He threatened in a low voice, don't yell. Li Dania held a knife to her cheek. Your looks aren't bad, be good, otherwise I'll slash your face. While threatening fiercely, a cold voice suddenly rang out behind him. You dare. The owner of this voice was none other than Han Yi. Without waiting for Li Daniu to speak, he kicked him flying. Li Daniu fell hard to the ground. He cried out in pain, and then fainted. Not only were the Li brothers surprised, but seeing her husband here, La Yunqi was no less confused. She unconsciously called out, Han Yi, remembering Li Daniu lying flat on the ground. She couldn't help but wonder, did Han Yi already know martial arts at this time? La Yunqi's call successfully made Han Yi pay attention to Li Santai behind her. He gave him a sharp glance. Let go of your dirty hand. Li Santai was frightened, his whole body trembled. He unconsciously loosened his hand, and the sickle he had just snatched fell to the ground. Then he pushed La Yunqi away, shouting, help, help, look at this skilled acting as a victim. Freeloading is a specialty of every era, and the real victim of this matter is about to fall face first into the dirt. Seeing this, Han Yi worriedly called, Yunqi. But the pain in her imagination still didn't happen. It turned out that what La Yunqi was about to fall into was not the dirt, but Hanya's chest. She raised her head to look at him, her face red and frightening. Hanyi. Because the circumstances didn't allow it, the love bubble didn't fly far before the couple separated. Returning to a state of alertness, Hanyi stood up to protect La Yunchi behind him. Don't be afraid, stand behind me. After reassuring her, Hanyi rushed over to give Lee Santai a slap. The second gift was a flurry of punches. Watch this move. Lee Santai was in so much pain that his face was wrinkled up. But the thudding sound of fists hitting his cheek echoing in the space still showed no signs of stopping. By the time he finished receiving the gifts, Lee Santai was speechless. La Yunchi's face was still red. She blankly looked at Hanya's tall back. In her heart she admired. I didn't expect Hanyi not only knew martial arts, but also fought so well. Even the action of wiping sweat made her fascinated. Having a beautiful body like this, no wonder the princess looked at him later. Seeing Hanyi waving his hand, Lee Santai was so frightened that he knelt down and begged, "Good man, don't hit me anymore, spare me." But Hanyi wasn't an easygoing person. He just asked, "What are you doing?" To increase deterrence, he even kicked him again in the shoulder. "Who told you to come here?" Lee Santai raised his head, honestly reporting, "It's my older sister, Lee Earnyang, who told us to come for revenge. Who told your wife to beat my older sister today?" Hanyi turned his head to look at La Yunchi. "What's going on with this matter?" Before La Yunchi could explain, a child's voice rang out, "Big brother, don't blame sister-in-law." Han Emo and Han Rong ran to La Yunchi's side. The little girl sobbed and explained, "Dezongzi pushed me, and wanted to hit second brother, so sister-in-law taught him a lesson." Then Dezongzi's mother fought with sister-in-law. La Yunchi smiled, gently reassuring Han Rong, "Be good, don't be afraid, it's okay." Her heart was full of warmth. The feelings of children are the purest. I didn't love Ronger and Emoer in vain. Han Emo saw his younger sister crying, so he spoke up and said the rest. "That's right, big brother, sister-in-law was all for preventing us from being bullied. You didn't see it. This morning sister-in-law not only didn't suffer, but also kicked Lee Earnyang hard. Sister-in-law is so brave, I have to too in the future." Hearing the boy tell it off-center, La Yunchi smiled bitterly. "Emoer, I want you two not to be bullied, not to encourage you two to fight." She secretly broke out in a sweat. Hanyi heard it. "If he feels that I hit people very ruthlessly, the degree of kindness will decrease again, and the food will be removed from the shelves again." Looking at this scene, the corners of Hanya's lips gradually curled up. So that's how it is. In his heart he had his own judgment. Her eyes looking at Ronger and Emoer have become so gentle. This kind of true feelings can't be acted out no matter what. The system announced. The male lead's affection increased by 2 points. Cornstarch on the shelves. Looking at the item she had just unlocked, La Yunchi's eyes lit up. Another bag of cornstarch is on the shelves. It seems that compared to hitting people, Hanyi cares more about me protecting his younger brother and sister. This situation made her overjoyed. That's great. The main food for the next half-month doesn't need to be worried about, in the moment of the big family reunion. "Love," Lee Santai suddenly held, "Han brother, out of consideration for us being neighbors, spare us this time, we don't dare anymore." La Yunchi stepped forward and whispered into her husband's ear to persuade, "Hanyi, it's better to avoid trouble, giving them a lesson is enough." Hanyi naturally listened to his wife. And answered, Lee Santai didn't know the intentions of the two people, and was still trembling nonstop. Hanyi looked at him and said, "Get lost, if you dare to come here to cause trouble again, don't blame me for being impolite to you." Lee Santai helped his older brother, Lee Dainyu, up, his mouth mumbling, "Okay, okay, okay." After saying that, he quickly ran away, only leaving a sentence, "Thank you Han brother." The campaign to avenge his younger sister by the Lee brothers just ended in a ridiculous manner. The outsiders had disappeared. Hanyi stepped forward to care for La Yunchi. "Weren't you scared? Are you hurt anywhere?" La Yunchi blushed, and quietly took 2 steps back. "I'm fine." A look of frustration flashed across Hanya's face, but he quickly perked up. "It's good that you're okay, go back to your room to rest, in the future when I'm not at home. If you have a conflict with the villagers, you have to tell me, I will be more careful." La Yunchi lowered her eyes. "I know." In her head she was thinking about something else. That's right, in order for that piece of pork to reappear on the shelves. At this time she was craving meat like crazy. Why not call him husband and see? Thinking is doing, La Yunchi stiffly called, Husband is right, tonight luckily you arrived in time, otherwise I would definitely suffer." Facing the scrutinizing eyes of the 3 brothers, La Yunchi broke out in a sweat. So embarrassing." Finally Hanyi spoke up to break the awkward atmosphere. "In the future, if you want to go anywhere at night, you can wake me up, it will be safer for me to go with you." On the surface he didn't show it, but in his heart he was also very puzzled. He won't let himself touch her, but suddenly called himself husband. The more he thought about it, the redder his face became like a tomato. What does she mean by this? Next, there was really nothing called next, because Hanyi had taken his two younger siblings by the hand, and walked forward together. Ronger, Moer, let's go back to our rooms to sleep. Leaving only La Yunqi standing blankly in place, regretting in her heart, miscalculated, the degree of kindness didn't increase, as expected. It's still too early to call him husband now. La Yunqi blushed and followed after them, but he also called me Yunqi. I really can't understand Hanyi. In the end, she had to sigh and accept her fate. Forget it, although there's no meat to eat, there's still a light meal. So she wasn't in a hurry, just take it slowly, another new day will come. The gentle light shining through the window entered the small room, and incidentally woke up the lump on the bed. La Yunqi suddenly opened her eyes. Noticing something unusual, she sat up abruptly. A moment later, a painful scream came from the room. Not good, I accidentally overslept, it's already bright. With no time for long regrets, La Yunqi quickly got out of bed to tidy up the bedding. Last night, after discovering that Hanyi had good skills and a beautiful figure. When being with him again, I felt strange somewhere. The more she remembered, the stranger she felt. Moreover, I don't know why Hanyi kept tossing and turning last night, making me worried, and I didn't sleep until very late. Thinking of this, her face immediately flushed red. An alluring scent suddenly wafted into La Yunqi's nose. She instinctively twitched it. Why is there the aroma of steamed fish? It smells so good. After tidying up, she lifted the curtain and walked out. Hanyi, Ronger, Moer. The two children were sitting obediently at the table, but her husband was nowhere to be seen. Sister-in-law, are you awake? Han Mo saw her looking around and spoke up. Big brother went to chop firewood. He especially instructed to let sister-in-law sleep a little longer. He has finished all the work. Han Rong added, that's right. Big brother also said that sister-in-law was talking in her sleep last night, saying you wanted to eat fish. The little girl proudly recounted, so big brother got up early and went to the river to catch 2 very big fish. Han Rong's tone was melodious like singing. Before he went out to chop firewood, he steamed the fish. Later we'll eat steamed fish and baked cakes. La Yunqi scratched her face in confusion. Really, did I talk in my sleep again? She secretly sighed. Hanyi is too reliable. Suddenly a bright idea flashed in her mind. Like this, even if the supermarket doesn't put meat on the shelves, we can also eat meat and fish. Then La Yunqi went around the house as usual. The water tank was filled. The other side was also neatly arranged. The firewood was also chopped. Han Mo and Han Rong led La Yunqi outside, looking at the house so clean that it reflected the sunlight. She couldn't help but mutter, even the yard is swept clean, not a speck of dust. Hanye's diligent image appeared in her imagination. Early in the morning, Hanye has done so many things. La Yunqi chuckled and enjoyed the cool space outside, finishing the comment just now, he's really a true snail angel. The blue sky seemed to be signaling a good future. The sunlight shone down, inexplicably making the dark thatched house become warmer by several degrees. La Yunqi gently rolled her eyes around. Everything was very peaceful and happy. The two children were playing in the yard. The sound of roosters crowing and dogs barking came from outside. While she was busy feeling emotional, the aroma of food came from the kitchen. Han Mo and Han Rong in the distance suddenly waved their hands. Sister-in-law. We're going out to play. La Yunqi also waved to the children. Be careful, don't go too far. Deep in La Yunqi's heart, something stirred. My mother died early. I lived under someone else's roof since I was young. I rarely felt the warmth of family. Unexpectedly after transmigrating into the book, I was moved by this everyday life. She smiled lightly and muttered, although ordinary, it makes people feel at ease and steadfast. At this moment, the snail angel Han Yi carried his spoils into the house. I'm back. La Yunqi stepped forward to greet him. You've worked hard. Then she curiously looked behind him. Who are these two people? Han Yi pointed to a beautiful girl, introducing, this is Xie Xiangwei, the Xie family's younger sister who knit the straw sandals. Xie Xiangwei nodded to La Yunqi. Hello sister-in-law. Her voice was as gentle as her person, very sweet. Han Yi continued to introduce the other person. This is my good brother who goes to chop firewood with me, Lu Qinggu. Lu Qinggu shyly scratched his head. Hello sister-in-law. Han big brother once saved my family's life, so in the future if there's anything you need, just tell me. Seeing that the two people knew her identity, La Yunqi didn't introduce further. She smiled brightly and welcomed. It's nothing, you two are too polite, come in, come in. Lu Qinggu quickly waved his hand. I'll pass, Han big brother and I still have to go to town to sell firewood. In his heart he felt confused. Strange, sister-in-law is clearly very enthusiastic and generous. Completely different from what he knew, not rude and barbaric like the old men and women in the village rumored. Lu Chingguo nudged Hanyi lightly, mainly Han big brother is too hot today. It's like there's a fire on his body that has nowhere to vent. I don't know what he ate wrong today. Hanya's always calm face flushed red in an instant. Lu Chingguo, seeing this, seemed to be injected with chicken blood, and excitedly continued, when chopping firewood, the axe blade also sparked, chopping firewood 3 times faster than usual. All of it is on the side of the road. Then he winked at La Yunqi in a meaningful way. If we don't sell all this firewood today, it will get wet. Sister-in-law, make some fire-reducing food for Han big brother. Facing his teasing gaze, her face gradually blanked. Huh? But if she didn't understand, it didn't mean others didn't. Xie Xiangwei's face immediately smoked. She shyly covered her face with her hands. Han Yu was even more embarrassed. He raised his hand to his ear, and hurriedly explained, Yunqi, don't listen to his nonsense. I just wanted to chop a little more firewood to earn a little more money. Seeing the two people so flustered, La Yunqi was even more puzzled. She tilted her head and wondered, what does Han Yu want to say? Looking at La Yunqi's calm expression, Han Yu gradually calmed down. He lowered his head, and said, forget it, it's nothing. But in his heart he couldn't help but feel a little embarrassment mixed with loss. It seems she didn't understand Xingwu's words. That's good too. How could I say that kind of explanation? Last night, his body suddenly became hot. This morning he woke up and did a lot of things. The cramped scene last night once again rushed back to his mind, but his heart still felt like it was burning. Han Yi turned to go out the door. I'm going to sell firewood. Lu Chingguo immediately followed him closely. We're going, sister-in-law. Xie Xiangwei said worriedly, Chingguo, Han big brother has a shoulder ache. It's a little cold today. Remember to bring some plasters. Lu Chingguo replied cheerfully, okay. La Yunqi's female intuition suddenly came online. She looked at Xie Xiangwei. In her heart she secretly predicted, this Xie Xiangwei seems to have feelings for Han Yi. At this time she suddenly remembered, that's right, Han Yi told me that Xie Xiangwei gave him a pair of straw sandals that night. My attention was all focused on the straw sandal business. And I didn't react. Thinking this, La Yunqi was still very enthusiastic on the surface. Xiangwei, come in, Xie Xiangwei shyly said. Sister, you don't need to be so polite. In the living room, the two people talked very happily. La Yunqi tried hard to win people's hearts. Speaking of which, the straw sandals that you knit for Han Yi are very beautiful. I also know how to knit some things. Are you interested in doing business with me? Realizing that La Yunqi had misunderstood, Xie Xiangwei panicked and stood up abruptly, her expression wishing she could shout the two words innocent. Sister. You must not think too much. I and Han big brother really don't have anything. I saw that Han big brother's shoes were all broken, and just happened to have some straw left over. So I knit a pair for Han big brother. La Yunqi poured tea, softly comforting Xie Xiangwei. What are you thinking? Sit down. Then she placed the warm cup of water in front of Xie Xiangwei. Don't call me sister-in-law in the future, just call me Yunqi sister. La Yunqi tried to search her memory. Actually, there wasn't much description of Xie Xiangwei in the story, but this girl looks honest, she's not a bad person. Identifying herself as an outsider, she knew the future ending in advance, making people have a good impression. Perhaps this girl really likes Han Yi, but the male lead Han Yi is after all the ninth princess. Seeing that La Yunqi didn't speak for a long time, Xie Xiangwei weakly muttered, Yunqi sister, you must believe me. On this side, La Yunqi was still immersed in her own thoughts. Besides, whether it's Xie Xiangwei or La Yunqi myself, she secretly made a very noble decision. They are all just passers-by in Hanya's life. Why should passers-by make things difficult for each other? La Yunqi suddenly grabbed Xie Xiangwei's hand. Yeah, older sister believes you. Every meaningful word was casually spoken by her. I also know that you're a good girl who likes cleanliness, so of course I don't want to let a smart and skillful girl like you, shamelessly giving the other party a meaningful look, waste your thoughts on someone you can't have. La Yunqi then emphasized the main point, no matter what, let's do a good job of running the straw sandal business. After all, you're still young, why not worry about yourself first? Earn a good future for yourself. With the last sentence, she seemed to be sending a message to herself, maybe in the future I'll see a wider world, and find my other half. Xie Xiangwei was deeply moved. She solemnly said, thank you Yunqi sister, I understand, Yunqi sister, rest assured, Han big brother and I only have brother-sisterly affection. La Yunqi smiled, her eyes curved. Older sister knows. In the future, if you want to visit your Han big brother, come over anytime. The Han family welcomes you forever. Then she also proposed some happy benefits. Next time you go to the market to sell straw sandals, we'll go together. I can also teach you to knit new styles. Hearing about the new knitting style, Xie Xiangwei's eyes lit up. Her voice also involuntarily became several times louder. What, Yunqi's sister knows how to knit new styles? La Yunqi also didn't expect her to be so enthusiastic, and replied a little stumbled, that's right. Xie Xiangwei ran over to grab La Yunqi's hand. Thank you, Yunqi sister, you must teach me how to knit. La Yunqi shyly pulled her hand back. Okay, that's natural, I'll knit a few styles for you to try. In her heart she couldn't help but sigh. Mention knitting, and this girl turns into a different person. Xie Xiangwei excitedly put out her tools. Yes, sister, look, I just happened to bring a lot of materials today. Seeing her so happy, La Yunqi was also relieved. It seems this girl is a handmaid addict. She definitely won't affect the plot between Han Yi and the ninth princess. The two people immediately started to learn. La Yunqi modeled. You see, if the position of the last knitted button is made into a hook shape, can't we create more styles? Xie Xiangwei kept exclaiming, that's right, why didn't I think of that before? The two people in the house were so happy that they forgot everything. Who knew that Li Ernyang, filled with resentment, was listening outside? Last night the yard of the Han family was noisy. I thought it was because my two brothers had succeeded. As a result they were beaten black and blue and ran back. Hateful. She gnashed her teeth and cursed. Didn't the Han family used to be dirt poor, and the husband and wife also quarreled constantly, but why did Santai say that their husband and wife are actually quite loving, and now they can even eat steamed fish? Only these things were nothing to Li Ernyang. It's killing people, it's just the last meal before their family becomes ghosts. She happily gnawed on corn, and also praised herself for the upcoming plan. My two brothers know the constables in town. Do you really think they're easy to provoke? That bitch of the Law family, if I don't punish you, I'll write my Li backwards. However, she calculated, but she couldn't implement it for a while, so the knitting process of the two people was still relatively smooth. Not long after, the first product of La Yunqi and Xie Xiangwei was born. Oh my god. Xie Xiangwei excitedly went to try her product. The beautiful sandal fit her foot perfectly. Xie Xiangwei couldn't help but cheer. This style is really the first time I've seen it. A moment later, the two children came back from playing. Looking at the strange sandals on the table, Han Rong couldn't help but cheer. Sister-in-law, you're so amazing. Han Mo was more practical. The boy worriedly asked, but this kind of thing is not common, who should we sell it to? La Yunqi confidently replied, I think those officials and rich people definitely don't want to keep wearing those thick and heavy boots. Their feet are both tired and sore. This was also the reason why she was very confident in the sales ability. If they can wear this kind of slippers at home, they will definitely feel very comfortable. Knitting a lot of slippers, La Yunqi couldn't help but remember her past life. When I was little, my mother used to work in a slipper factory. The image of the close mother and daughter sitting next to each other rushed back to her mind. My mother not only knew how to knit shoes and slippers, she also knew how to knit small toys. I followed my mother to learn for a while. It can be said that at that time was a period of time she would never forget. Although it's not considered very good, I still remember the general style and procedure. I didn't expect to use it after transmigrating. After asking La Yunqi, Xie Xiangwei exclaimed, slippers? What a great name, it will definitely sell well. At the same time, she outlined a more specific plan. Not only officials and rich people, ordinary people will also like it. Yunqi sister, let's knit a few more pairs and take them to town to sell in a few days. La Yunqi was also very hopeful for these slippers. She smiled, her eyes curved. Okay, if they sell well, we'll also have money to buy yarn. Yarn slippers are softer and more comfortable than straw slippers. They'll sell for more, and we can earn more. As soon as she finished speaking, the system also announced, item LV1 slippers obtained. La Yunqi smiled even brighter. When the time comes, sister-in-law will also knit a pair for Ronger and Amour. They will be very comfortable. Han Rong happily hugged her face. Thank you, sister-in-law. Han Mo was very moved. Sister-in-law, you've worked hard. The boy stole a glance at La Yunqi. In the boy's heart, the impression of La Yunqi had unknowingly changed. I didn't expect sister-in-law not only to be skillful, but also know how to do business. It's really amazing. Suddenly Lu Chenggu pushed the door and rushed in. Sister-in-law, something bad happened. Hearing these words, everyone's happy expressions immediately changed. Under everyone's worried eyes, Lu Chingwu said, Han Big Brother was arrested by the officers. La Yunqi was so frightened that she dropped the slipper she was knitting onto the table. She slammed the table and stood up abruptly. What happened? Why did the officers arrest Han Yi? She kept speculating in her head. There wasn't this in the story. Could it be because I appeared? Even if she didn't want to, she only had one thought in her head. Did I change the plot? Lu Chingwu panted, trying to tell it briefly. Han Big Brother, and I wanted to go back after selling firewood. When suddenly a bunch of officers rushed over. That group of people skillfully grabbed Han Yi as if they had planned it in advance. They just said that Han Big Brother stole someone else's wallet and took him to the county office. He remembered vividly when ordering the soldiers to take Han Yi away. The face of that officer was very treacherous. He didn't have the slightest appearance of a good official for the people. Lu Chingwu remembered something, and quickly added, "Sister-in-law, I saw that the constable in charge used to drink with Li Daniu in town. I'm afraid there's a problem in this." La Yunqi's face darkened. Han Yi is not the kind of poor scholar who cares about face. As long as he can support his family, he's willing to do anything. Although very worried about him, she still tried to calmly analyze everything, but in the story, he has always had very high demands on his morality since he was a child. He was in his youth. Even if he was hungry, he wouldn't steal dried radish that was drying in the yard of the neighbors. Even if he was poor, he wouldn't pick up firewood that the fellow villagers accidentally dropped when they went to the mountains to chop firewood to take advantage. Once Han Yi went to chop firewood and met an old man. Seeing the eggs falling from his basket, he didn't secretly take advantage of it, but chose to step forward to remind him. "Li, old man, your rope is not tied tightly, you have dropped a lot of firewood, I picked it up for you behind, here." At that time, the old man was very grateful to him. "Thank you, kid." Thanks to this, La Yunqi was able to firmly believe that. Would he go steal things like that? It must be that he was framed. Han Rong's crying interrupted her thoughts. The little girl sobbed, "Sister-in-law, Big Brother was taken away, what should we do?" Han Mo was also worried. Big Brother would definitely not steal things. La Yunqi hurriedly ran to the door, urgently instructing everyone. Ronger, Moer and Shengwei stay in the house. Sister-in-law is going out for a trip. I will definitely rescue your Han Big Brother. Han Mo bit his lip. The boy was silent for a moment, then decided to trust La Yunqi. "Sister-in-law, be careful." La Yunqi smiled and reassured the boy, "Yeah." Then she waved goodbye to them, rest assured. Xie Xiangwei held Han Rong in her arms, and together with Han Mo sent La Yunqi and Lu Chinggu out, looking at the backs of the two people gradually disappearing. Han Mo muttered, "Sister-in-law, you must bring Big Brother back safely." A moment later, the two of them arrived in front of the county yamen. Lu Chinggu left for a while and finally returned. "Sister-in-law, I've inquired." Hearing him finish speaking, La Yunqi rubbed her chin and thought, the young master of the county magistrate's family has contracted smallpox, and is busy seeking doctors everywhere. Lu Chinggu nodded firmly, "So it's not easy for us to meet him." La Yunqi's eyes lit up. If the young master of his family really has smallpox, this thing might have a solution. A plan gradually appeared in her mind. "I know how to cure it. Moreover, I've been vaccinated in modern times, so I'm not afraid of getting infected." Lu Chinggu panicked and reached out to call after La Yunqi, Sister-in-law. But she still calmly walked to the gate of the yamen, took the drumstick and held it high. Without hesitation, she slammed the leather skin to call for justice. This decisive drum sound startled the two soldiers standing guard at the gate, followed by a female voice full of determination. "Trouble the official to report to the county magistrate." La Yunqi seriously continued the words she had left off. "This villager has a prescription to treat the young master." Because the young master's situation was a little serious, before long La Yunqi and the official arrived at the front hall of the inner mansion, reporting the injustice and the prescription to magistrate Fong. She respectfully bowed and pleaded, "The beginning and end of this matter is like this, please the county magistrate to be the judge." Magistrate Fong excitedly stepped closer. "I understand, this official will definitely investigate this case clearly, but I hope that this girl will follow me to see my son's illness first." Then he sighed and recounted the young master's illness. "These days my son has contracted smallpox, has been running a fever non-stop, and has been sleeping for several days. Inviting several doctors but seeing no effect." Magistrate Fong said in a deep voice, "If you can really cure my son, this county magistrate will reward you generously." La Yunqi humbly bowed and repeated, "Thank you, sir, no need for rewards, as long as I can bring my husband home, this common woman will be very grateful. This matter will be discussed later." Magistrate Fong waved his hand to the person behind La Yunqi. quick, please." She vaguely remembered her childhood, when she was young. There was a pharmacy next to the house. Inside there was an old and respected Chinese medicine doctor in charge. La Yunqi, while taking the cloth that the servant handed over, sighed in her heart, "I was always quite curious about Chinese medicine, and would go there to learn from him in my free time. Originally to adjust my mother's body." After putting on the face covering, her eyes showed determination. Who knew that going back and forth would actually remember a lot of knowledge? And those things have helped her today, including the treatment of smallpox. The group began to move towards the backyard of the young master. A silent atmosphere enveloped the entire room. Suddenly Magistrate Fong softly asked, "Miss Law, how is my son?" The noise next door made Magistrate Fong's son, Fong Luji, stir from his sleep and groan. La Yunqi closed her eyes tightly and concentrated on taking the other party's pulse. Then she thoughtfully gave a general assessment. "The wound can't be wrapped so tightly with gauze. This is easy to infect. Moreover, the medicine that the young master used before only has mulberry chrysanthemum and rhizoma. This is not enough." Then she opened her eyes wide, deep inside showing a firmness that couldn't be wrong. A package of kudzu root powder must still be added. Then La Yunqi slowly listed the stages that needed to be used. A portion of the medicinal soup used to clean the sores. Unexpectedly, the treatment method she gave seemed simple, but the recovery time was very fast. "The rest is used for drinking. In 3 days the young master will be able to reduce the fever." La Yunqi frowned and carefully instructed Magistrate Fong, "Also, it's best for the whole mansion to drink this medicinal soup for a few days, then use some strong alcohol to wipe your hands and gargle your mouth. Fumigate your nose to avoid getting infected. For the next month, it's best to fumigate each room in the mansion with wormwood every day. The things that the young master used must also be gathered together and burned." He didn't doubt it at all, and quickly turned around to give orders. "Didn't the kitchen just stew a large pot of mulberry chrysanthemum and rhizoma soup? There's also kudzu root powder available in the mansion. Quickly go prepare according to what Miss Law said. Quick." The servant standing nearby hurriedly ran away. "Yes." La Yunqi put Fong Luji's hand back in the blanket, then softly reassured, "Master Fong doesn't need to worry too much. The young master's situation can still be saved. It's just," but she didn't say the rest of her words, "but if it's delayed for a few more days, it really won't be able to be saved. By then, I'm afraid his illness will become more and more serious and he will pass away." La Yunqi carefully washed her hands, vaguely remembering the plot of the novel. Speaking of which, this Fong Luji is not described too much in the original work. Only knowing that he is talented, and later followed Han Yi into the court as an official, his future is smooth. During that time, he was still healthy and radiant, with an irresistible radiant charm. At this moment, Fong Luji suddenly woke up, tremblingly reaching out to grab La Yunqi's sleeve. "You, who are you?" His breathing was very weak, but he still tried to beg her, save me, I don't want to die." La Yunqi softly reassured Fong Luji, "Young master doesn't need to worry. A good life is waiting for you ahead. You can definitely overcome it. Live a long life." Then she took his hand to comfort him. "You must persevere. I will cure you." This action successfully helped Fong Luji calm down. Magistrate Fong also hurriedly lowered his head to entrust, "Miss Law, my son is all counting on you. If you can save my son, this old man will definitely reward you." La Yunqi didn't dare to accept this bow, and hurriedly ran to help him up. "Sir, please stand up. The young master's matter. I have my own plans in my heart. The matter of my husband's false accusation also depends entirely on you." Mentioning this matter, Magistrate Fong stroked his beard worriedly. "It's because I didn't manage it strictly. I will immediately go investigate the matter clearly." Late that night, the flickering candlelight illuminated a corner of Fong Luji's room. He vaguely opened his eyes. "How long have I slept this time? Wait." Even though he was lying on the bed, he could feel the change in himself. The wound on his body was clearly not as painful as before. At this moment, La Yunqi gently carried a bowl of medicine and came closer. "Young master, are you awake? Do you feel any better?" Fong Luji started and glanced over, not knowing why his heart started to beat faster. This time waking up, his body had really turned better. "She can really cure me." La Yunqi saw that the other party was silent, and didn't think much. She smiled and brought a spoonful of water over. "Here, drink the medicine." Even though she was covering her face, her sparkling blue eyes had successfully captured Fong Luji's heart. "She must be a goddess sent down by heaven to save me." He sat up straight, obediently taking each sip of medicine. "These days my whole body is as hot as burning, as if I was in hell. I thought I couldn't make it through. Even my father was about to give up, but she's like a flower in the darkness. Feng Luji was truly grateful to La Yunqi, saving him from hell, and tears of happiness streamed down his cheeks. He choked back tears and thanked her. "Thank you, for the saving grace, miss." Seeing the other party burst into emotions, La Yunqi panicked a little. "It's a small matter, young master doesn't need to take it to heart, after drinking the medicine. Eat some food and go back to sleep, now you need to recover your lost energy." Feng Luji stopped crying, then blushed and agreed to her. Okay. In his heart he secretly made a vow. If I can overcome this, I will definitely use all my strength to repay her. Before long the medicine took effect. After the young master Feng fell asleep, La Yunqi and the two servants, every 2 hours would feed him medicine once, wash the wound once. Kept awake like this until morning. The scenery around suddenly appeared hazy fog. A table of glittering delicacies was arranged very beautifully. La Yunqi couldn't help but exclaimed. On the other side of the table, Han Yi in luxurious clothes waved to her. "Yunqi, what are you standing there for? Come sit down." His appearance startled her. "Han Yi, why are you dressed like this?" He smiled gently, then explained to her in detail. "I am now Prime Minister, luckily there was your support, you sit down and eat first, I also prepared a lot of gifts to repay you." La Yunqi, while sitting down, pinched her face. "I finally made it through, am I not dreaming?" In addition to the banquet in front of her, Han Yi also had another gift to give her. "Look, this mountain of gold is all for you." As soon as he finished speaking, he couldn't see the familiar figure next to him. It turned out that the money-loving La Yunqi was rolling around in the pile of jewels. Even so, she was still polite. This isn't very good." This excited appearance made Han Yi amused and smiled. Then he pointed in another direction and continued, "These are all things you deserve, and these silks, jewels and ornaments, I promise you a lifetime of endless enjoyment." At this time, La Yunqi's eyes were completely shining, and she didn't bother to maintain face anymore. "Then I won't be polite with you anymore." In her heart she was screaming with happiness. Finally realized my dream of rich freedom. Suddenly Han Yi came closer and put his arm around her shoulder. Then he gently picked La Yunqi up in a princess carry. The feeling of weightlessness made her startle and cry out. Then, with a red face and a pounding heart, she asked back, "What are you doing?" Han Yi logically replied, "I want to have an intimate late-night conversation with my wife to repay my wife." La Yunqi was extremely flustered by this reasoning. This man finally couldn't hold back anymore? Her face became redder and redder, stammering in refusal. No, it can't." The abacus in her head began to click. What to do now? His couple is the 9th princess. It wasn't until La Yunqi was placed on the bed that she managed to complete a complete sentence. "Han Yi, be sober." Han Yi smiled and pinned her under his body, his warm voice echoing close to her ear. "I'm very sober, you're my wife, what's wrong with this?" La Yunqi muttered to explain. "Actually, I'm not your wife." He didn't bother to listen to these words, and before long he was getting closer. She screamed in panic. Han Yi, in her heart she was unbearably anxious. "No, I have to stop him." If words were useless, then this was the time for action to reign. La Yunqi used her head to hit his forehead hard, and shouted, "Everyone says tearing couples will be struck by lightning." It seemed that the pain had helped her to suddenly wake up. La Yunqi tiredly rubbed her head. "What nonsense am I dreaming? I must be crazy for wanting to gain Han Yi's kindness." Han Yi in the story has a stern and selfless appearance. Thrifty and honest, how could he give me mountains of gold and silver? After calming down, La Yunqi went to the bedside to take Feng Luji's pulse. Today his face was much rosier. This situation made her breathe a sigh of relief. Phew, the pulse has recovered a lot. Young Master Feng can be considered to have safely passed. Even so, she still had things to worry about. It's just that there's still no news about Han Yi. At this moment a call came from outside. "Miss La." The female servant respectfully bowed to inform, "You've worked hard, my master asked you to come to the main hall. This servant will feed the young master medicine for you. Please go quickly." This invitation successfully lit a glimmer of hope in La Yunqi's heart. It must be about Han Yi. At the same time in the court, Magistrate Feng said in a deep voice, apologizing in front of all the people, "Han Gongzi, it's because I didn't manage it strictly, causing you to suffer injustice." In the court. Then he seriously recounted the details of the case in recent days. "These past 2 days I've investigated clearly. The Li family brothers maliciously avenging Han Yi colluded with Constable Cui, framing Han Yi for stealing. The Yamen has also searched out the corresponding stolen goods in Constable Cui's house. Someone take off Constable Cui's official uniform, permanently ban him from employment, and punish the Li family brothers 20 strokes each." The official panicked and knelt down to beg, "Sir, spare me, I won't dare any more," but still couldn't stop the whip that was constantly falling. Han Yi respectfully lowered his head to Magistrate Feng. "Thank you, sir, for redressing the grievance of the commoner, Han Yi, kowtowing in gratitude for your kindness." This attitude made him secretly satisfied. This Han Yi is in prison but is still so calm, and was also very calm during the interrogation just now, with evidence and reason. He is truly a clever and sharp person. Thanks to the halo of the main character, Magistrate Feng soon approved of Han Yi. Moreover, this person is so young and can be so stable and polite, enough to see his bearing. If he is wholeheartedly taught, his future will be very bright. When La Yunqi set foot in the yamen, a notice was issued inside, court adjourned, the surrounding villagers flocked out, walking and laughing with interest. It's so satisfying. That Constable Cui was finally dismissed. I feel this Han Gongzi is quite clever. Although she was late, the result was the thing that La Yunqi cared about the most at this time. Phew, the trial is over. Just now I only saw the Li brothers and the Constable Cui being dragged out. To be beaten, Han Yi must be okay. She just entered the gate and saw a familiar figure standing with his back to her. Han Yi. La Yunqi happily sped up her pace, while loudly calling, Han Yi. Hearing the voice, he recognized the person, Yunqi. She worriedly checked his whole body from top to bottom. "Are you okay? Are you hurt?" Han Yi obediently stood still so that she could check. "I'm fine, I wasn't tortured." In his heart he felt a little pity, she looked so haggard. Han Yi lowered his eyes to look at her, and sincerely expressed his feelings. "Yunqi, the jailer told me about you clearing my name, offering a prescription to treat young Master Feng. And taking care of him. It's I who made you tired, I'm sorry." Seeing that he was okay, La Yunqi felt like a heavy burden had been lifted. She breathed a sigh of relief. "Why are you saying these polite words? We're family. Even if it's going up a mountain of knives and down a sea of fire, I'll save you." These words made Han Yi very moved. Yunqi, his view of her gradually changed. Before, she suddenly changed her personality. I was still wary of her. The result before his eyes was the best proof, but this time of disaster made me see the true feelings. If I'm still suspicious of her, wouldn't I be letting her down? Thinking of this, Han Yi suddenly suspiciously frowned, but her father didn't let her study, her stepmother made her work all day. He shifted his gaze to La Yunqi's dazed face, secretly asking an unanswered question, where did she learn medicine? Just then, Magistrate Feng slowly stepped down into the courtyard. Speaking of which, Han Gongzi, do you want to pass the imperial exam? He frankly made a suggestion. If you want, I can introduce you to the Tianqing Academy in our county, free of tuition for 3 months, and reward you with some money to help your family. Seeming afraid that the two people in front of him would refuse, he cautiously asked, "Okay." At this time La Yunqi's eyes were shining as if she had seen promotional items in the supermarket. She quickly recalculated everything. Tianqing Academy is the most famous academy here, with a long history and strong background. Han Yi always wanted to go there to study. But the person involved only knew to stand stunned. Then he regained his senses, lowered his body and replied, "Please allow the commoner to go home and discuss with my wife." La Yunqi's face was as radiant as a flower, constantly nodding. "No need to discuss, our whole family supports Han Yi going to the academy." Then she, like a parent whose son had won an award, ran over to shake Magistrate Feng's hand. "Thank you for Sir Feng's kindness, you really have discerning eyes." He replied shyly, "It's simple, simple." La Yunqi couldn't help but be happy for her future life. Han Yi lives in the academy. In the future I can take food out of the supermarket without being sneaky. Han Yi again thought she was simply because of him, and was moved. "Yunqi, you." In his heart he began to promise, "She thinks of me like this, I can never let her down." Then Han Yi turned to clasp his hands in salute to Magistrate Feng. "Thank you, Sir Feng, Han Yi will definitely study hard." He stroked his beard with satisfaction. Good, 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 then come to the academy to register 3 days later. Actually, he also had his own calculations. If this person passes the imperial exam, I can recommend him to Lord Lu, who is eager to find talent, and expand the recruitment of scholars. La Yunqi happily muttered to herself, I didn't expect Han Yi to be able to go to school so quickly. Deep in her heart she couldn't help but feel emotional. This happened much faster than in the story. And even got free tuition for 3 months. She was so happy that her heart blossomed. Life is getting more and more hopeful. It was just that La Yunqi had some difficult questions, but according to the plot, the old beggar that Han Yi had saved before was actually Lord Lu of the capital Imperial Censorate. Later he came specifically to find Han Yi, and sponsored Han Yi to go to school. She thought for a while and still couldn't get a satisfactory answer. Now why has it changed to Magistrate Fong sponsoring Hanyi? Strange, could it be that the plot has changed? But whatever happens, it was still a good thing for them now, whatever, as long as the direction of Hanya's schooling doesn't change, that's fine. Having thought this way, Li Yunqi also let go of this matter. I shouldn't be too concerned about every detail. Then several people again said their thanks and left the county yamen. When Lu Qingguo met the two people again, he talked non-stop. I didn't expect sister-in-law to be so good. Not only did she rescue Han Big Brother, but also saved young Master Fong along the way. But Li Yunqi felt a little embarrassed after being praised. My husband was arrested, how can I not be anxious? On the other hand, she reaffirmed her position. Now I am Hanya's life-saving benefactor. If that's the case, why not take advantage of it? Quickly take this opportunity to increase a little kindness so the supermarket can put more food on the shelves. Before she could implement it, a throbbing pain made her frown. Ouch. Not knowing when, her right foot had become swollen. Li Yunqi couldn't stand firmly anymore, lost her balance and fell forward. At this moment a strong arm wrapped around her waist. Hanyi held her tightly and worriedly asked, "What's wrong with you?" Li Yunqi reached out to squeeze her ankle. The throbbing pain transmitted straight to her brain, confirming her speculation. She let go of her hand and turned to suggest to Hanyi, "I was too hasty yesterday, I sprained my ankle, I'll walk slowly, you and Wuchen go back first, Mor. Ronger and Xiangwei younger sister are still waiting at home, I'm worried." It was just that before she could stand firm, she was pulled back into his arms. "If you go alone, how can I rest assured?" Then Hanyi squatted down and gave an order, "Get on, I'll carry you back." This action startled her. Then she shyly waved her hand to refuse. "No need, I can by myself." Before she could finish her sentence, she was interrupted by Hanya's movement. "Listen to me." Then he stood up straight, letting Li Yunqi scream in panic, Hanyi." At this time, Lu Qingguo very understandingly said, "Goodbye, Han Big Brother, I've been out for a night, my mother will definitely be worried, I'll go first." Li Yunqi blushed and called after him, "Hey, go together," but all that replied to her was his meaningful laughter, "Ha ha ha." Unable to convince Hanyi, she began to struggle. "No, the road is so far, you'll be very tired, I can walk by myself." But he only smiled and reassured her, "A little distance is nothing to me." Suddenly blushing and lowering her head, she stammered a suggestion, "No, but." The more she spoke, the softer Hanya's voice became, "Don't move," but this attitude plus his tone made Li Yunqi stiffen. Then she also blushed and held tightly to his body. Then I won't move anymore." Her mind couldn't help but wonder, Hanya's appearance is really strange. The two people slowly walked home. While walking she suggested, "Speaking of which, Master Fong also rewarded us with some silver, why not buy some ready-made food for our Mor and Ronger? Both to reduce hunger and reduce fear." Li Yunqi spoke for a while and began to change the subject. "That's right, I also have to buy some paper and ink." Hanyi gently agreed with her, "Listen to you." Deep in his heart he felt extremely happy. This is the first time she said our Ronger and Mor, she really treats us as family. The intimate image of the three people suddenly appeared, always remembering Ronger and Mor, even more thoughtful than me. In his heart there seemed to radiate an unprecedented warmth. Just then the system that hadn't been seen for a long time reappeared. Hanye's affection increased by 6 points. The supermarket put on the shelves cornstarch, pork, apples, fresh vegetables. Li Yunqi carefully observed the quantity and couldn't help but be surprised. This time 3 bags of cornstarch were put on the shelves, and there's also fruit. And there are more kinds of vegetables, the quantity is also greater. And a plan gradually appeared in her. Some kinds of vegetables can't be eaten in a short period of time, why not bring them to the market to sell? Maybe I can earn some money. After a period of time that was neither short nor long, the two of them had returned to the village. The 2 children had just heard the noise and ran out to greet them. Han Rong happily cheered, "Sister-in-law, you really brought Big Brother back." Han Mo hurriedly rushed over to ask, "Big Brother, are you okay?" Hanyi didn't rush to answer, calmly entering the yard. Then Li Yunqi was gently placed on the ground. She proudly stood akimbo and declared, "Of course I'm okay, sister-in-law can do what she says, your big brother is also okay," also raising the piece of meat in her hand high. "And I also bought fragrant ready-made food for you too." Han Rong took a deep breath, "It smells so good." At this time, Xia Xiangwei slowly helped an old man come out from inside. "Han Big Brother, Yunqi sister, the village chief is also here." The old man asked with a stern face about the whole situation. "Han family's wife, the matter of you beating the drum to appeal for grievances yesterday has spread throughout the village. And someone said that the county magistrate personally saw you out. Do you have a relationship with the county magistrate? What's going on? La Yunqi forced a smile and waved her hand. Haha, the rumors are not very wrong. In her heart she couldn't understand. There's no entertainment in the village. After dinner they talk about everyday things, and the more they talk, the more outrageous it becomes. At this moment, the sound of 2 eggs breaking suddenly rang out from behind. Not knowing since when, Li Ernyang had appeared outside the gate, her legs were like jelly, her mouth stammered, I. Then with a pale face she tightly hugged her head, so big brother and third brother really had something happen. Oh my god, this couple really has a relationship with the county magistrate. Li Ernyang desperately looked up at the backs of the 2 people. Hanyi, how can I live in peace in the future? La Yunqi recognized who it was, and turned back coldly. What's the matter? She timidly gave a very ridiculous reason. I wanted to visit Han brother, and bring 2 eggs to nourish your bodies, unexpectedly. Before she could finish speaking, she was interrupted by the aroma from the basket in La Yunqi's hand, the aroma of ready-made food, and such a big bag. Li Ernyang couldn't help but hate in her heart. Recently the Han family has been stewing chicken and steaming fish and buying ready-made food. They're extravagant every day. On the surface she swallowed her saliva and let it pass. No, it's nothing. Then I'll go first. Behind her back she was uncontrollably curious. How did this couple have a relationship with the county magistrate? It was just that La Yunqi wouldn't let her leave so easily. You wait a moment, aren't you going to say sorry? This accusation made Li Ernyang panic and cry out, what? Before she knew what to do, she immediately received a slap from La Yunqi. Then she threatened the other party with a dark face, do less immoral things in the future, be careful of retribution. Li Ernyang tightly hugged her hot cheek, but other than stammering she couldn't do anything else. You. That staring gaze made La Yunqi even more disgusted. What are you staring at? Don't think you have a reason because your husband is dead, others indulge you. I, La Yunqi, won't indulge you. If you dare to come to my house to cause trouble again, I'll drag you to the yamen. Knowing that she had lost, Li Ernyang decided to find someone to cry and beg. Village chief, please look. She knelt down in front of the old man and recounted. La Yunqi relied on the La family being rich and bullied me. Are you going to heartlessly watch me be bullied by a woman from another village? It seemed that the village chief was also moved by these words. Frowning he turned to say to La Yunqi, this matter, Han family's wife, you are indeed a little too much. No matter what, you shouldn't hit people. She was about to speak, when a warm arm draped over her shoulder. Village chief. Han Yi sternly defended his wife. No matter where Yunqi comes from, now she is also a person of our Han family. Then without hesitation he exposed everything. Li Ernyang, because of a small matter between children, harbored resentment. First she called her 2 brothers to break into our house to rob, and then framed me for stealing. Sending me to the yamen. He said a little angrily. Yunqi giving Li Ernyang a lesson is considered light. Please village chief be the judge. It seemed that the old man had just heard of this matter. His old eyes widened. Then he changed direction and scolded Li Ernyang. What, Ernyang? This time Han Ye's misfortune was caused by you framing him. You wicked woman, you deserve to be beaten. If you still dare to have bad thoughts about the Han family, I'll punish you to kneel in the ancestral hall. She was so frightened that her body shrank. Then she put on a wronged expression and turned to leave. Wah. In her heart she gnashed her teeth and cursed. You little bitch, you wait for me. Li Ernyang left behind a resentful look. I will definitely avenge my big brother and third brother. Seeing that everything had been taken care of, the village chief said goodbye in a gentle voice. Alright, it's not early anymore. I and Xiangwei will go back now. You 2 try to rest. Then the 2 people politely sent them to the gate. Thank you village chief. Walk slowly, village chief. The old man, while leaving, was secretly assessing. This wife of the Han family is not as unreasonable as before. It's just that the village chief wasn't surprised by this change. This is normal. They are a young couple. They quarrel in bed and make up at the end of the bed. The affection of the couple just now made the old man smile and bless them. The future life of the Han family will become better. The scene shifts to late at night. Outside, the wind and leaves create rustling sounds in the quiet space. La Yunqi is sitting on the bed carefully mending the shoe in her hand. Han Yi, 3 days after you go to the library to register, take me along. I have made an appointment with Sister Tuongvai to go to the market to sell straw goods. Then she put down the straw shoes and said hesitantly, that's right, with your experience. The scene shifts to the handicraft basket next to her. La Yunqi carefully asks, how much can these handicrafts be sold for? Han Yi thought for a moment after hearing this and said, if it's straw sandals, each pair can probably be sold for 3 dong. Fur sandals can definitely be sold for a little more. 10 dong, and these small toys can be sold for 8 dong. As soon as he finished speaking, La Yunqi exclaimed with joy, then can't we earn a lot? That's great. I'll try to knit 20 more pieces in these 3 days. He looked at her excited appearance and gently smiled. Then Han Yi sat closer, gently placing his hand on hers. Yunqi, I can study and work at the same time. It should still be in time for the exam next spring. I don't want you to work so hard. La Yunqi quickly waved her hand after hearing this. She said, no, we must work quickly. Maybe you can study well in this half year, and you can participate in the Hung exam this autumn. Then she turned her face slightly away, thinking in her heart, the most important thing is that I can finally have a good night's sleep at night. Han Yi also agreed decisively after hearing this, I'll listen to you. Let's decide like that. He thought to himself, perhaps the former Yunqi really looked down on me. But now she has changed. Then I, Han Yi, will definitely treat her well for the rest of my life. As soon as he finished speaking, La Yunqi's system immediately announced, the male lead's favorability has increased by 10 points. Some food items are on the shelves. At the same time, the supermarket system is upgraded. From now on, a certain amount of food will be on the shelves every day. La Yunqi read it and exclaimed in a daze, the supermarket system can still be upgraded? If a certain amount of food is put on the shelves every day, the problem of eating will be completely solved. And we can even directly open a store to sell side dishes. Then she rushed into his arms happily and said sweetly, Han Yi. She pushed him down on the bed and said, that's great, we finally can. At this time, Han Yi blushed and replied, yeah. La Yunqi also immediately realized. She was stunned and thought to herself, no, I have to calm down. I can't say it. Who knows when Han Yi will suddenly become depressed and the supermarket will be downgraded? It's best to take the food out and hide it, which is the safest option. Han Yi called her softly at this time, Yunqi. She shyly returned to her position immediately and said, sorry, I was too excited. Then he gently reminded, we are husband and wife, what are you afraid of? As soon as he finished speaking, her voice became hesitant, I. At the same time, Han Rong suddenly woke up. She rubbed her eyes and said, big brother, sister-in-law, what are you doing? The two immediately fell silent without making any noise. Then they both turned to look at Han Rong with faces as red as tomatoes. The two hurriedly sat upright and said in unison, no, we're not doing anything. Han Yi shouted awkwardly in his heart, I want to find a hole to crawl into. Later, La Yunqi came forward to cover her mouth and said, Rong Rong, don't make trouble anymore. Go back to sleep. Han Ye's face next to her also turned red with embarrassment. He stood there looking at her covering herself with the quilt and shouted, I'll sleep inside tonight. La Yunqi hid deep in the soft cocoon. In her heart, she thought, Han Yi will always dawdle for a long time before going to bed every night. I was so embarrassed just now. I can't wait for Han Yi. I'd better go to bed first. Oh my God, Han Yi, please go live in the library. It's too dangerous like this. Han Yi saw this and said gently as he picked up the blanket, okay, I'll sleep outside. Don't be afraid. I won't do anything to you. He gently approached and blew out the nearby candle. Han Yi lay down on the bed and thought to himself, she is shy. Does this mean that she has me in her heart? Some things can't be rushed. Let's take it slowly. The scene shifts to 3 days later. Han Yi and La Yunqi went to the market in the county. In the bustling market, hawking sounds rang out everywhere, new cotton and silk fabrics are here. Make cotton padded clothes for children. A pot of hot tea solves all worries. Please come in, customers. At this time, they were busy with their stalls. After arranging the stalls for La Yunqi and Xia Xiangwei, Han Yi went to the library to register. He stood behind and instructed. Chen Guo, I'm counting on you to take care of them. Lu Chengguo, who was sitting aside listening, smiled slightly and replied, don't worry, big brother Han. I will protect sister-in-law and sister Xiangwei. The scene shifts to Tiancheng Library. At this time an old man recognized him as soon as he saw him and said, the magistrate Fuang has already told me about your matter. You can be considered to have turned misfortune into blessing. He stroked his long beard and said, the Quan family and the Han family have always been friends, but since you moved into the village, we have rarely interacted. The last time we accidentally met at the book fair was 3 years ago. How are your younger siblings doing these days? And he is Quan Fuzi, a friend of Hanye's father. Hanye hurriedly saluted him after hearing this and said, "Thank you for your concern, Fuzi. Everything is fine at home." Quan Fuzi then reminded him, "I have arranged for you to attend the exam preparation class for the Hung exam in the autumn. You must work harder in the future. Don't let down the magistrate's good intentions." Hanye replied firmly, "Thank you, Fuzi. Hanye will obey." At this time, his eyes sank, and his eyebrows frowned slightly. Quan Fuzi thought to himself, this guy has the demeanor of his father. We must try to cultivate him. But I hope he won't follow his father's old path. It was half an hour later. A woman led a child to La Yunqi's stall. Seeing that the stall was empty, she said, "Are they all sold out? I heard that your shoes are very comfortable. The handicrafts are beautiful, and the price is not expensive. I specially ran from the east to buy them." La Yunqi smiled shyly after hearing this and replied, "Sorry, they are all sold out today. We will come here to sell again in 3 days. I'll keep a pair for you then. Is that okay?" She waved to the mother and child, thinking in her heart, the knitted items have really been sold out. They sold even better than I expected. I made a fortune. The girl left and said, "Okay, I can only wait." La Yunqi said apologetically, "Sorry." At this time, Xie Xiangwei next to her picked up a straw sandal and said, "Sister Yunqi, maybe we can attach cloud patterns and small Xiangwei flowers on the sandals. It not only represents our names, but also implies good luck. In this way, people in the town will default to buying sandals with cloud patterns and Xiangwei flowers in the future. 1 spreads to 10, and 10 spreads to 100. Business will definitely get better and better." Her face became radiant after hearing this. She said, "Sister Xiangwei, you are so good." Then she sighed in her heart, "Wow, this girl is already aware of the brand logo. The future is full of expectations." Then she continued in a firm voice, "Let's decide like that. When we make a big business in the future, we will open a store and be the boss, hire a group of female workers, and go to the capital to make a lot of money together." Then La Yunqi said proudly, "Of course, the materials for knitting shoes cannot only be simple materials such as straw, pillow fabrics, and wool. With the change of the 4 seasons, the materials for shoes must also change. For example, in winter, we should use wool to knit, with a lining inside, which is both beautiful and warm. It will definitely be welcomed." Xiangwei next to her looked at her with admiration. La Yunqi suddenly said, "That's right, go buy wool. I'll watch the stall. We'll go back after you buy it." Xiangwei quickly agreed, "Okay." At this time, a girl with a noble appearance smiled softly under the umbrella. She is La Yunqi's half-sister, La Jingui. La Jingui put on a disgusted expression and said, "We grew up together since childhood. Younger sister didn't know that older sister still has this skill." Then she folded her umbrella and sarcastically said, "Older sister has really been hiding her talent for many years." La Yunqi was surprised and raised her head when she saw her appearance. She thought to herself, La Jingui, the daughter of Li Shi. These 2 mothers and daughters have beaten and scolded the original owner many times, and forced the original owner to do heavy and dirty work without giving her food. La Jingui approached with a radiant face, took her hand, and asked intimately, "Older sister, long time no see. How have you been living these days?" She immediately shook her hand away and said decisively, "Although you, a thick-skinned person like you, and your heartless mother drugged me and used fire to drag me to the Han family. Wanting to see me suffer, I turned my hard life into a good life. I don't know if you human-faced beasts are gnashing your teeth with anger." Then a radiant smile appeared on her face. La Jingui immediately became angry after hearing this. She said loudly, La Yunqi, don't think that you know the county magistrate and have no one in your eyes." She thought to herself, if it wasn't because I heard that this little slut was lucky and hooked up with the county magistrate, I wouldn't bother to come here. La Yunqi became even more interested after hearing this. She said, "This news is spreading really fast. So what if I know the county magistrate? Does it hinder you?" "That's right, I heard that my cruel-hearted father, La Yunfu, wants to open a casino in the town, right?" Then she carefully looked at Jinggui's face and said, "You condescended to come here today, you must want to use my relationship to help La Tianfu get a license to open a casino. So that your mother can be proud, right? La Jingui gnashed her teeth with anger after hearing this. She pointed at her and scolded sourly, little slut, so what if you know the county magistrate? At most, the law family will spend some money, and this matter can be resolved smoothly. Stop putting on airs with me. She was not angry at all after hearing this, and just said calmly, the one putting on airs is you. Did I invite you here? This is not the law family. Stop acting presumptuously here. Get out. La Jingui was trembling with anger at this time and kept repeating, you. At this moment, Hanyi came back and asked when he saw the scene, Yunqi, what happened? La Yunqi asked gently when she saw him, Hanyi, you came back so soon. What did Fuzi say? La Jingui next to her was also startled and exclaimed. Hanyi came forward and said to her, everything went smoothly. I can go there to study tomorrow. La Jingui's thoughts appeared next to her, tall figure, bright eyebrows and eyes. Stable youth, and heroic demeanor. She blushed unconsciously and thought to herself, I have never met Hanyi before, and I thought he was some kind of scarred face. Who knew he would be such a handsome young man? Then she asked hesitantly, this is sister-in-law's husband, right? La Yunqi emphasized coldly, of course he is my husband. She thought to herself, the smell of infatuation with men is so strong. Then she decisively stood in front of Hanyi and said, if you have anything to say, say it. If you have nothing to say, go away. She cursed in her heart, a minor character who has never been mentioned in the story, still fantasizes about peeking at the male lead. Forget about that spring. She decisively tore off La Jingui's face, a girl staring at my man, hasn't your mother ever taught you how to write the word shameless? Hanyi blushed slightly when he saw her attitude behind him and thought, she said my man. This attitude is completely self-conquest. At this time, the system showed a notification, the male lead's favorability increased by 2 points, mandarin oranges are on the shelves. Yunqi was secretly happy when she saw it. Mandarin oranges? Those foods that can't be eaten and are afraid of spoiling in the supermarket. I quietly asked Lu Chenggu to bring them to the west side of the street to help me sell them. But mandarin oranges are autumn fruits. This kind of fruit cannot be eaten in ancient times in spring and summer, so they can be sold for a little more. La Jingui was so angry that she trembled after hearing this. She insisted, I didn't. At this time, the people around also began to whisper, look, whose girl is so reserved? How can she get married if her reputation is ruined? She turned around and left in shame and said softly, La Yunqi, you wait for me. At this time, Hanyi gently put his hand on her shoulder and comforted, Yunqi, don't be angry. Is this your younger sister? La Yunqi replied, yes, when I was at my mother's house. Their 2 mothers and daughters dealt with me many times. It's light to scold her. Then her expression became serious again. She said loudly, if La Jingui comes to cause trouble again in the future, you can avoid her. I can deal with her alone. Otherwise, her vixen eyes are like hooks, constantly swirling around you. Hanyi smiled with satisfaction after hearing this and replied, okay. Once again, he is madly self-conquering. He thought to himself, not letting other women look at me, she still cares about me in her heart. Yunqi gently patted his shoulder at this time and said, Hanyi, I'm preventing vixen spirits. Then she said to him with a radiant smile, actually, it's for your own good. Your real peach blossom tribulation has not yet arrived. Hanyi hurriedly swore, real peach blossom tribulation, Yunqi, don't worry, I will never like other women in my life. At this time, Yunqi gently touched the coins on the table. She decisively put them in her pocket and said, don't say those sweet words. Wait until you know what is called peerless beauty, you won't say that again. Hanyi hurriedly grabbed her shoulder and said in a serious tone, Yunqi, you are my wife. He gently touched her cheek and expressed, even if a fairy comes. Then he touched his chest and affirmed, I only need you. La Yunqi was stunned after hearing this. She wondered in her heart, what does Hanye's words mean? Looking at his firm appearance, she was shocked to realize, wait a minute, he just said that he will never like other women in this life. The two fell into silence. Yunqi was still busy with her thoughts in her head, he can't possibly like me already, right? Then she reacted in confusion and began to stutter, I. She recalled the plot of the story and shouted in her heart, no way, old brother. If you're in the ninth princess's love line and the story deviates from the track, The subsequent development will be beyond my control. Yunchi sat down on the ground in despair and thought to herself, I don't want to die unclearly. Oh heaven, can you let the plot return to the right track? She thought and decisively pushed him away and hurriedly changed the subject. After you go to school, you have to stay at the library, right? Anyway, the things are all sold out. I'll go buy some quilts and pillows for you. At this time, Hanyi suddenly grabbed her hand and said, I have chosen to go back and forth every day, not staying at the library. He decisively pulled her into his arms and said, this way I can help you with housework, and you won't be too tired. Yunchi exclaimed in surprise, what? Her cheeks flushed and she looked up at him and said, didn't we agree before? She thought to herself, then wouldn't we have to share the same quilt every night in the future? Hanyi replied in a firm voice, Yunchi, don't worry. Although we are husband and wife, as long as you don't agree, I won't touch you. Hearing this, Yunchi waved her hand in panic and said, I won't touch you either. Her subsequent words made his cheeks turn red. After all, we are still young. Let's not mention that matter for the time being. Hanyi let go of her and said softly, you haven't eaten anything at noon, right? Then he strode away and said, I'll go buy some steamed buns for you. Yunchi thought blankly behind him, I embarrassed myself. He ran faster than a rabbit. She looked at his blushing cheeks and thought to herself, a big shot who will stand in the court in the future has such a thin skin? Or is he only thin-skinned towards girls? Seeing his figure disappearing into the crowd, Yunchi sighed and wiped the sweat on her forehead and said, I hope he's just saying that. Men, wait until he meets the 9th princess. She glanced to the other side and said, he will know what is called peerless beauty and won't think like that anymore. On the other side, La Jingui had also returned home. You took a fancy to Hanyi? She shouted angrily as soon as she entered. Her birth mother immediately scolded after hearing this, no way. The Han family is dirt poor. I can't bear to let you suffer poverty. After our casino opens. Aren't the men in the town for you to choose from? She slammed her hand on the table, causing the teacup to fly up, and continued, however, this ungrateful La Yunchi, the La family has raised her for more than 10 years. Only hoping that she could say a few words to the county magistrate. Li Shi's angry expression was clearly visible. She said loudly, opening a casino saves a little silver, but who knew she would turn her back and deny people? It's her fate to marry into the Han family and suffer poverty. La Jingui immediately turned on the sour mode and replied, I don't care. Anyway, I want to marry Hanyi. If you don't agree, I won't live anymore. Li Shi was stunned and surprised after hearing this. Then she gently hugged Jingui and said softly, okay, good daughter. At first, wasn't Yunchi unwilling to marry Hanyi? If we ask her to divorce, she would be more than happy. If you want to marry, I'll immediately go find a matchmaker to talk about it. La Jingui showed a satisfied expression after hearing this and said, thank you, mother. Then she kindly massaged her shoulders and said, actually, father doesn't have a son. The family property will belong to the son-in-law sooner or later. If we find a spendthrift, it will be all gone in a few years. I think Hanyi is a talented person, with a dignified appearance and extraordinary aura. Then her attitude immediately became angry and she scolded loudly, that bitch La Yunchi is basically not worthy of him. La Jingui's face flashed with a trace of viciousness when she said this. She slowly said, but I see that La Yunchi and Hanyi already have feelings, so La Yunchi may not agree to divorce. Mother, you have to help me think of a way to ruin La Yunchi's reputation and make Hanyi abandon La Yunchi. The scene shifts to a few days later. At this time, Yunchi was sitting on a wooden chair diligently knitting sandals. She sighed softly, the chair made by Hanyi is so comfortable. If Hanyi didn't want to study, just with his craftsmanship, he could earn money by selling household items. She raised her hand to block the dazzling sunlight and said, speaking of which, there are too many foods on the shelves in the supermarket these days, except for taking the food to eat or selling what we can't finish. As soon as she finished speaking, a series of foods appeared. She hesitated and planned, actually, we can also make some snacks. La Yunchi carefully looked at the system and calculated carefully, according to my observation, people here like to eat starch, so making some crispy fried corn cakes and steamed buns will definitely sell well. Later, when white rice is on the shelves, we can also make bamboo rice. The image of Hanyi sitting in class diligently listening to lectures appeared, along with her words, if that's the case, it would be more convenient to move to the town for business. And Han can also shorten the road to and from school every day. At this time, a hurried voice rang out, startling her, "Sister-in-law family, it's not good." A person ran in breathlessly and said, the old master returned from the city with goods." The horse was frightened, kicked him once, and threw the old master down. Then the person shouted loudly, "The old master fell badly. The old master asked you to go home to visit him as soon as possible." Yunchi was stunned for a moment before she realized that he was the tenant farmer son of the Law family, Sun Xiaoqiang. She casually lay down on the chair and said, "What does it matter to me whether La Tianfu lives or dies?" Sun Xiaoqiang was stunned after hearing this and said, "Sister-in-law family, how can you be so heartless? The old master is your father." She sneered and replied, "Father? Has he fulfilled the responsibility of a father over the years? He felt crippled, and the leisure mother and daughter will serve him. What does it have to do with me?" Suddenly a thought flashed in her mind, wait a minute, now the supermarket updates a lot of food every day. In case Han Yi becomes suspicious and can't explain it. It's good to go back to the Law family and dig out the gold box that the original owner's mother left under the tree. Then she stood up and thought, this way it can be explained later. Then she decisively said, "Forget it, let's go." Her expression was full of casualness, "Let's go see my bad father." The scene shifts to the back door of Tiancheng Library. Han Yi stepped out of the classroom at this time and asked with a surprised expression, "What did you say?" The old woman in front of him covered her mouth with a fan and said, "I said that La Yunqi doesn't want to live with you at all. Only book readers like you are stupid, believing everything you say. She's the matchmaker of La Jia village." The image of her with another man appeared with her narration. She babbled to him, she has already had an affair with someone else. She often goes to drunken building to find a handsome male pet of hers to play with. The matchmaker continued in an ambiguous tone. Before, someone saw her lingerie hanging in the inner garden of that male pet. Han Yi asked coldly after hearing this, "Why are you telling me these things?" She curled her lips and explained, "I used to know your mother, and I know these things, so of course I can't bear to hide them from you. You should divorce La Yunqi and then marry La Second Miss too. Ensure you have wealth and glory for the rest of your life." Han Yi immediately realized the strangeness in her words. He thought to himself, "La Jingui, what does the Law family want to do?" Then the matchmaker approached him and whispered, "Forget it, I've told you everything. In the afternoon, I saw your wife wearing a bag at the pier, taking a boat to elope with a man." The more she said, the more excited she became, she must have left the city by now. "If you don't believe me, go home and see. You won't see her shadow anymore." Han Yi felt as if there was a loud explosion in his ears, and his pupils contracted. A thought flashed in his mind, it's not good, something happened to Yunqi. He immediately grabbed her wrist and asked, "Tell me, where did the Law family take Yunqi?" The matchmaker frowned in pain and shouted, "My hand." At this time, in a remote area, Sun Xiaoqiang kept urging La Yunqi, "Sister-in-law family, let's go quickly. The old master is waiting for you to go back." Suddenly Yunqi asked suspiciously, "Wait a minute, La Tianfu fell in the morning, and he wanted to see me urgently. Why did he wait until dusk to tell you to inform me? The two villages are not far away." He stammered after hearing this and scratched his head and said, "I was busy finding a doctor in the morning, so I was delayed." Seeing the panic in Sun Xiaoqiang's words, Yunqi immediately stopped. She angrily questioned him repeatedly, "If you have found a doctor, why do you want me to go back? Did La Tianfu fall and injure his left leg or his right leg?" At this time, Sun Xiaoqiang trembled and changed his reason. "The old master said he missed you, so he asked me to call you back." She grabbed his neck and cursed, "I spit on you." Yunqi loudly exposed him, "How could that father who favors concubines and destroys his wife miss me? Sun Xiaoqiang, I see that you are a child, so I won't bother with you. Tell the truth, did Li Shi and La Jingui ask you to deceive me?" Sun Xiaoqiang was immediately guilty after hearing this and hurriedly denied, "No, no, if you don't believe me, just go back and see if you don't know." At this time a strange rustling sound came from the nearby trees. Seeing this, Yunqi immediately realized in her heart, it's not good. She immediately ran away and thought to herself, "I was careless because I thought he was still a child." Sun Xiaoqiang immediately whistled to call his teammates and said loudly, "You stinky bitch, where are you running?" Immediately two people rushed out of the bushes and ran quickly towards her. Another person who was not wearing decent clothes also quickly jumped out with a dangerous expression. Seeing this, Yunqi's face immediately darkened. In the next second, she was surrounded by them. Several men kept saying dirty words to her. "Little lady, where are you running? We have been waiting for you for 2 can. Follow us to have fun." Sun Xiaoqiang stood aside with a smug smile and confirmed, "Sister-law family, it was the madam and the second miss who wanted to harm you." He stood in the distance and shouted back, "I'm just taking money to do things. Don't blame me." Yunqi shouted loudly, "Help, help." One person quickly covered her mouth and shouted, "Don't shout." At this time, a foot quietly stepped forward. Beside her ear was the joyful laughter of the group of people. "Boss, so fierce, it's fun to play with." They quickly dragged her away. One of them laughed and said, "That's right, I think she's quite pretty." Sun Xiaoqiang walked in front with his arms behind his head, completely casually, "Don't play too hard." Yunqi kept struggling to escape. At this time, her eyes became sharp. She waved her hand to break free from the control of the person. Then, without hesitation, she kicked the front person in the lower body, causing him to scream in pain. He glared at her and cursed, "You bitch." Then he decisively slapped her in the face and shouted loudly, "I'll let you kick me. I'll play you to death later." A piece of her clothes was immediately torn off by him. Yunqi hurriedly hugged her body and said, "Don't touch me, how much money did Li Shi give you?" She stated firmly, "I'll pay 10 times as much." The men hesitated after hearing this and asked, "Really?" Sun Xiaoqiang next to him anxiously shouted, Don't listen to La Yunqi." The man's expression became extremely hesitant at this time. Immediately afterwards, a hand punched him in the face, causing him to exclaim in surprise. The person who performed that punch was none other than Han Yi, and the leader lost his balance and fell backward. The remaining 2 henchmen shouted in horror, "Boss." Sun Xiaoqiang recognized who it was and was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat, "Brother-in-law." Han Yi coldly threw him a warning look. Then he slowly moved closer in the trembling voice of the other person, "Han Yi." That henchman seemed to have eyes like a blind man, still stubbornly tightening his fist and charging towards him, "You damned brat, you want to die." Before his fist could touch the target, that person's face had intimately contacted Han Yi's palm. Then he took the opportunity to slam that person's head hard against the ground. The remaining person, taking advantage of Han Yi being busy dealing with his partner, immediately raised the wooden stick he had in his hand, preparing to give him a sneak attack right on the head. It's a pity that turtle-like speed was nothing to Han Yi. His eyes flashed and he turned his head behind. Then he used his left leg as a support, turned around and gave a kick right in the face of him. Sun Xiaoqiang realized that the situation was starting to lose advantage, so he hurriedly turned around and ran away. "Not good, I have to quickly go back and inform the lady." Meanwhile, Yunqi hugged her body tightly and trembled. Han Yi finished dealing with that group of hooligans, immediately ran over and asked about her situation. "Yunqi, are you okay, are you not hurt?" But she could only stammer one word, "I." Seeing her like this, he felt as if 1,000 knives were cutting through him. "Yunqi, don't be afraid, I'm here, you won't have anything happen." In his heart he couldn't help but sigh. Is she crying? But Han Yi was busy comforting Yunqi, so he didn't notice his wife had reached out and grabbed the stick next to her. Then she went crazy and stood up, shouting loudly, "You bastards, you dare to have designs on this grandma." Yunqi didn't care and hit them on the head. "Do you have mothers, wives, older sisters, younger sisters, or not, if they were to have their reputation ruined? What would you do?" That person couldn't bear the pain. "Grandma, spare me." They barely used the last of their strength to beg. "We only listen to the instructions of the lady of the law family. Please grandma, show mercy, we won't dare again." While hitting excitedly, she was suddenly stopped by Han Yi, Yunqi. That group of people saw that the beating had stopped, so they shouted and ran away. "Run quickly." Yunqi shifted the tip of the spear to Han Yi. "What are you doing?" He didn't say anything, only gently draped his outer coat over her body. This warm action also helped Yunqi calm down. "I almost forgot, I was about to be exposed." Then she blushed and turned to thank Han Yi. "If you hadn't arrived in time, I'd probably, but how did you know I was here?" He frowned and recounted everything. "The matchmaker from your law family village came to the academy to find me, to matchmake for La Kim Gue, also said what about seeing you run away with a man? I realized something wasn't right, forced the matchmaker to ask." She then confessed that La Shi and La Kim Gue wanted to harm you. This name made the anger in Yunqi's heart intensify. "These 2 mothers and daughters just sent someone to ruin my reputation, and sent someone to my place to matchmake. What a great joint attack." Then she looked up and made a suggestion to him. "Han Yi, do you dare to go back to La Family Village with me to demand justice?" He smiled and agreed with her. You are my wife, whether it is a mountain of knives or a sea of fire, I am willing to rush through it with you. These loving words made Yunqi's heart flutter. Han Yi, she secretly gave him 10 stars, a person with love and righteousness like him is rare, even if in the future I will hand him over to the ninth princess. To be able to hold the hand of a good brother like this and start a business together to get rich, is considered not to have wasted this life. Han Yi saw the other party suddenly fall silent, so he spoke up and called, Yunqi. She woke up from her thoughts, sternly made a decision. Okay, now we're going to find them to settle the score. He gently followed her. Yeah. In his heart he was extremely happy. She asked me to back her. Does that prove that she finally is willing to rely on me? At the same time in La Kim Gui's bedroom, she chuckled and flattered her mother. It's still mom who is amazing. If tonight's matter is successful, no matter how good La Yunqi is, Han Yi won't want La Yunqi anymore. She picked up a piece of fish and hummed, that's natural, who would want a ruined flower? Before she could swallow it, suddenly a familiar figure was pushed in. The two La Kim Gui startled and turned around. Yunqi just entered and immediately turned on the machine. La Kim Gui, you thick-skinned person, are you unable to marry out? If not, why do you want my husband? Li Shi gnashed her teeth and cursed Sun Xiaochang. You useless thing, you let La Yunqi escape again, and led Han Yi to the door. Then she turned to her daughter and signaled, I also don't know if Sun Xiaochang confessed us, first we don't admit it. Then Li Shi laughed contemptuously, what that my daughter is interested in your husband, don't spit blood on people, you came to my place to cause trouble for no reason. And beat my servants, do you not want to live anymore? La Kim Gui also took the opportunity to follow, that's right, you're making it up. In her heart confident that she had a winning hand, La Yunqi from small to big was always suppressed by her mother. What was there to fear? It's a pity that she was no longer as easy to bully as before. Yunqi arrogantly took out a piece of paper. Li Shi, the person who doesn't want to live is you. I've obtained Sun Xiaochang's confession. He said you instigated him. Do you believe I'll report it to the authorities? These words made her jump, and hurriedly ran to snatch the paper. In her heart she continued to curse Sun Xiaochang. What, that thing succeeds little and fails much. Unexpectedly, it only had 6 words written on it. Stupid pig, you've been fooled. Li Shi was so angry that her body was trembling. You little bitch, you tricked me. She tore the paper while doubting, does she want to rebel today? This attitude made Yunqi very satisfied. She tilted her head and mocked, aren't you acting anymore? Since she had been discovered, Li Shi didn't bother to hide it anymore. Okay, I did it, so what can you do? What can you dare to do? Yunqi immediately used action to prove, I'll tell you, I dare. She was pushed and cried out in pain. Oh. Not stopping there, she also directly tore the earrings out of her ear. These are my mother's relics, are you worthy to wear them, making the skin there bruised and bloody? Li Shi trembled, hugging her wound. The anger in her heart was growing. This little bitch used to listen to me obediently before getting married. How is her personality like a different person now? La Kim Gui, seeing her mother injured, panicked and ran outside to call for help. Help, someone come here, La Yunqi is killing people. But before she could step out the door, her wrist was tightly grabbed. Then she immediately ate a resounding slap from Yunqi. You shut up. She fell to the ground, right next to her beloved mother, daughter. Suddenly Yunqi noticed the sumptuous table next to her, and couldn't help but laugh sarcastically. Look at how extravagant you are, eating sea cucumber, and even having servants serve you. A legitimate daughter like me is starving and doing hard work all day. These words in the ears of the two mothers and daughters were no different from a death sentence. It's over, it's over. Tonight this La Yunqi came to settle the score. Han Yi stood on the side observing everything. A surge of pity welled up in his heart. Seeing is believing. Today seeing with my own eyes the luxurious life of the Li mother and daughter. And thinking about Yunqi suffering in the La family before, it really makes people feel injustice for her. At this time, the soldiers also heard the noise and ran over. Who is causing trouble here? The two Yunqi turned towards that direction in unison. The two soldiers clearly saw who the person opposite was, and stammered, unable to speak. It's Miss. And there's brother-in-law. Not knowing if it was luck or misfortune, Yunqi's father, La Tianfu, also arrived at this place. I thought who came back. It turned out to be you, rebellious daughter. He darkened his face and clicked his tongue. Poor appearance. After you two got married and first returned home, it's okay if you didn't bring any gifts. Do you have the face to make trouble here? Your pockets are cleaner than your faces. What, do you want to rebel? This undisguised contemptuous attitude made Han Yi uncomfortably furrow his brows. But before he could do anything, his wife had stood out to reply to him. Haven't we already given it? Not only did we give a big gift, we also want to collect debts from you. Li Shi saw La Tianfu appear and then began to act spoiled. Old man, quickly save us. If you don't come, La Yunqi will beat us to death. La Qingui began to cry loudly, wah wah wah. He saw his beloved wife and precious daughter being beaten, so he angrily pointed at his eldest daughter. La Yunqi, you're too outrageous, look at you slapping your younger sister. Her face is swollen like a pig's head. Even though she was in pain, this comparison made La Qingui furious. Dad, who did you say is a pig's head? These words that turned black and white made Yunqi even more annoyed. Am I outrageous? Li Shi spread false information saying you fell off a horse to lure me home. And then had Sun Shaocheng ambush me to ruin my reputation, and instigated the matchmaker to force Han Yi to leave me and marry La Qingui. What are you going to say? Unexpectedly, he also didn't know about this plan. His face darkened and he turned to Li Shi. What's going on? You dared to not discuss with me, and make your own decisions? She didn't dare to say anything, only stammered a sound, Fortunately, La Qingui quickly spoke up to explain, again not knowing that these words were self-deprecating. Dad, don't blame Mom, La Yunqi is the one who is shameless. Clearly at the beginning Yunqi was unwilling to marry Han Yi. Now I have feelings for Han Yi. La Yunqi is unwilling again. Mom and I were clearly thinking for Dad, so we had people do this. Yunqi didn't bother to argue, and said indifferently, sometimes it's this, sometimes it's that. The me of now only wants to live in peace with Han Yi. This sudden confession made his face turn red. She didn't pay attention to him, and loudly threatened that group of people, if you dare to ruin things again, I'll call the county magistrate to punish you for immorality. Then put an iron yoke on you, and send you out to parade the streets, to let everyone see what kind of virtuous slut who seduces her brother-in-law has. La Qingui was frightened, only knowing to shrink behind her mother. She also couldn't say a sentence. Yunqi, gaining momentum, narrowed her eyes and launched the key sentence. Speaking of which, a slut indeed only gives birth to a slut. She indifferently recounted everything, as if she was only an outsider. Back then you were only a foot-washing slave of my mother, if it wasn't for you having an affair with my father. Throughout those years, Yunqi's mother always washed her face with tears. Remembering this, she couldn't maintain her composure anymore and shouted, then why did my mother get angered to death? La Tianfu, being hit in his weak spot, shouted back loudly, you shut up, what qualifications do you have to talk about me? I can find whoever I want. It's just that Yunqi didn't waver at all, and used these words for herself, then I am the same. Then she grabbed the red tablecloth next to her tightly. Straight away pulling it hard, causing the bowls and plates to fall and shatter, but on her beautiful face she still maintained a calm smile, instead of restraining yourself. You might as well go crazy once in a while. La Tianfu went crazy and yelled, my celadon dishes. The luxurious foods fell all over the ground, just like the arrogance in Yunqi's heart. Instead of constantly forcing yourself to endure, it's better to go crazy a little sometimes. A bowl aimed straight at Li Shi's head and came in. The remaining ones also hit the ground and shattered into hundreds of pieces. La Tianfu only knew to stand still and curse, you wasteful thing. Then he loudly ordered, someone, capture these two ungrateful people for me. The group of soldiers, holding their weapons tightly, rushed into the room, but suddenly they were stopped by two powerful words, be careful. Yunqi glanced at them carefully and then continued what she had left off, whoever dares to touch me and Han Yi, I guarantee that person will eat prison food for the rest of their life in the yamen. Just a few simple words successfully shook the entire group of soldiers. This sentence also woke La Tianfu from his daze. He almost foolishly wanted to open a casino in the county, if this rebellious daughter really had a relationship with the county magistrate. His casino would definitely not be able to open. Thinking this, his attitude changed 180 degrees, rubbing his hands and putting on a smile to make peace. Hee, good daughter, Dad was wrong, so what do you want? Dad will listen to you. Yunqi also had to admire the speed of changing faces. This old man changes his attitude really fast. Since there was an opportunity, she had to seize it. She calmly made her request, listen to me. First, I hope you manage your illegitimate daughter La Qingui who doesn't know shame well. Tell her to stop eyeing Han Yi. If she dares to come to the Han family to cause trouble again, don't blame me for being impolite. La Qingui was unable to bear being said like that. She ran to grab La Tianfu's sleeve and acted spoiled. Dad, look at how badly La Yunqi is scolding me. Scolding Yunqi means you are scolding Dad. It's just that now he was blinded by money, and no longer had the strength to protect her. Shut up, you go guarantee with your older sister. From now on you can't eye your brother-in-law anymore. And kowtow to apologize to your older sister. Of course La Qingui wasn't willing, and angrily shouted at him, What is La Yunqi? Is she worthy of me apologizing? As expected, she immediately ate another slap from La Tianfu, who told you to look at your brother-in-law, quickly apologized to your older sister. La Kimgui was both in pain and aggrieved, only knowing to hug her cheek and cry, Wah wah. Li Shi at this time also tried to ease the situation, old man, calm down. It's a pity that whatever she said was unsuccessful, and she was also pointed at by La Tianfu, Shut up, it's all because of the good daughter you taught, shut up for me. She could only listen, yes. Then he stepped over and tightly grabbed La Kimgui's shoulders. Without any mercy, he pressed hard, causing her to kneel on the ground, quickly kowtow to your older sister and brother-in-law. Then he put on a friendly face with the two of them Yunqi, haha daughter, son-in-law, Dad has made your younger sister apologize to you too, so the matter of Dad wanting to open a casino depends on you too. Of course Yunqi's suggestion wasn't just one, the matter of La Kimgui is over. Second, you and Li sure have to vomit out all of the inheritance you have plundered from my mother. Touching money is like touching Luo Tianfu's life. That's not allowed. My mother and I also have a share of the inheritance. Why should I give it all to you? At this moment, Han Yi quietly picked up a chair that was lying nearby. He didn't say a word, but scanned everyone opposite him with murderous eyes. Luo Tianfu was so scared that he stammered, what do you want to do? Han Yi said calmly, nothing. Then he put all his strength into breaking the chair in his hand, as if to add emphasis to his request, I just hope my father-in-law will answer again. Luo Tianfu was so scared that he took a few steps back, give it all, I'll give it all. Then he told Yunqi in a deep voice, your mother's inheritance is all in the small box in my study, but it's not much. There are only a few taels of broken silver and some old things. It's only natural to give it all to you. He couldn't help but applaud himself in his head. Her mother died early, and this damn girl is stupid. How would she remember how much inheritance her mother actually had? Just make up a number and lie to her. But how could these lies escape the eyes of a reborn person like Yunqi? She laughed calmly as if she had heard a joke, haha, then let's go to the study together to check the box. But I'll remind you, my mother left me a notebook. Then she solemnly uttered her last threat, I will use it to compare with the things in the box you give me. Nothing can be missing. If you don't give enough, we will report it to the officials. You can decide for yourself. Luo Tianfu had lived to this age, but he never expected this development. This little bitch, still had tricks up her sleeve. He kept stammering, I. Then he sighed and reluctantly accepted the reality, this time I'm really at a loss. Yunqi smiled and took Hanya's hand, husband, let's go to the study. The warmth on his hand helped to soften the emotion in his eyes. Then he tentatively suggested, Yunqi, we're already here, why don't we bring your mother's spirit tablet back to the Han family? It's also convenient for us juniors to pay our respects. Yunqi widened her eyes in surprise and looked at the person opposite her, Han Yi, you. A warm current flowed through her heart. She felt extremely moved. Even a biological daughter like the original owner hadn't thought of this, but Han Yi had brought it up. Which showed that Han Yi always remembered the original owner's mother in his heart. Then she cheerfully made another suggestion, did you hear what my husband said? Hurry up and take my mother's spirit tablet out of the ancestral hall. My mother doesn't want to stay in the Luo family's ancestral hall at all, constantly looking at you wolves in sheep's clothing. Luo Tianfu had no problem with this matter, okay, we'll listen to you too. But his hand hidden under his robe was clenched so tightly that the veins were bulging. If it wasn't for opening a gambling den, why would he have to endure this anger? Luo Tianfu sighed repeatedly, but now he could only obey them first. After all, a person like him wouldn't suffer losses. He'd settled a score with them after he opened the gambling den. The sound of sobbing echoed in the bedroom, woo-woo, Mom. Luo Jingui knelt on the ground and cried bitterly, I'm so wronged, father didn't help me. I have no face to see anyone anymore, woo-woo. Li Shi hugged her tightly and comforted her, good daughter, don't cry anymore. A gentleman takes revenge, 10 years is not too late. As long as Luo Yunqi isn't dead, we'll have a chance to take revenge sooner or later. Everything went smoothly afterwards. Luo Yunqi finally found the dowry box hidden under the tree root and took out the notebook inside. She seriously listed each item, 3 gold hairpins, 5 ingots of silver, a pair of jade bracelets. Luo Tianfu cried while returning them, feeling regretful, woo-woo. Yunqi didn't bother to sympathize and continued her work. She compared the records and forced Luo Tianfu to return all of her mother's inheritance. Even the earrings had to be taken back. After careful comparison, Luo Yunqi and Han Yi went to the transportation agency to hire a carriage to go home. On the carriage, Han Yi smiled and chatted with her. The night is late and the surroundings are quiet. We are carrying money, so it is safer to hire a carriage with an escort to go home. Yunqi cherished her mother's spirit tablet in her hands and agreed with him. Yes, the carriage is also a bit faster. Ronger and Amor must be anxiously waiting at home. It wasn't until the moon hung high in the night sky that the two of them returned home. The flickering candlelight inside illuminated a corner of the room, making Yunqi's figure covered with a layer of soft light. Han Rong happily led the group of 3 people running towards her. Sister-in-law, we've finished bathing. She immediately sped up the movement of her hands, then smiled and instructed the little girl, okay, let your elder brother coax you to sleep. Today your sister-in-law brought back the dowry from her maternal home. Tomorrow we'll go to town for a feast. Yunqi was overjoyed. Now that she had money, it wouldn't be a problem to occasionally treat the whole family to a meal. Han Rong jumped up and down excitedly, okay. Although Han Mo was very happy, he tried to remain calm. Thank you, sister-in-law. Han Yi stepped forward to tuck the quilt in for his 2 younger siblings. Coincidentally, elder brother made some new clothes for you too. Then he smiled and said good night. Tomorrow is a happy day. Have a sweet dream tonight. Han Rong obediently replied, yes. The family of 3 softened Yunqi's heart. The image was so warm. Han Yi was indeed a person with a strong exterior but a very gentle interior. At this moment, Han Rong softly pleaded with Han Yi, that's right, Ronger wants elder brother to tell us the story of the ginseng baby. He quickly agreed to the little girl, okay. However, Han Mo lying next to him had different thoughts. To be honest, although elder brother and sister-in-law had made up, there had been no progress recently. The boy thought for a while and then secretly decided, I have to add fuel to the fire for them. Then Han Mo blushed and interjected, speaking of babies. Although he was a little embarrassed, he still tried to finish the sentence, elder brother, will you and sister-in-law have many babies in the future? Han Yi couldn't help but turn his face towards Yunqi, we. She also subconsciously looked over, and their eyes met, making her blush to the roots of her ears. Only Han Rong was not infected by this atmosphere. She pitifully pulled at the quilt, then if elder brother and sister-in-law have babies in the future, will you still need me and second brother? Han Yi gently stroked her head to comfort her, of course I need you. You two are elder brother's younger siblings. No matter how many babies elder brother has, I won't abandon you. Only these words sent Yunqi straight into a state of extreme panic. What is Han Yi saying? What are babies? I won't have babies with Han Yi. Because she was distracted, she accidentally pricked her hand, A bright red streak of blood immediately appeared on her fair fingertip. Han Mo sat up in a panic, elder brother, sister-in-law's hand is bleeding. At the same time, Han Yi also quickly rushed over. He worriedly grabbed Yunqi's hand, what's wrong? She gently replied to him, I'm fine, I just accidentally pricked my hand with a needle. Han Yi's focused gaze suddenly darkened. Then he unhesitatingly put her finger in his mouth. That warm feeling made Yunqi's face even redder. The sound of her heart beating violently seemed to cover up Han Yi's words. People in the village say that saliva can stop bleeding. In her eyes, there was only the other party's burning gaze, and pink bubbles began to appear in the surrounding space. Even the 2 little kids, Han Mo and Han Rong, were so excited that their eyes shone brightly. Wow. This sound made the 2 of them shyly separate. Yunqi hesitated and urged, I'm really fine. Hurry up and change your clothes and go to sleep. Han Yi reminded her caringly. Don't work anymore. It's too tiring. Han Mo stubbornly stuck to his plan. He stepped forward and grabbed the things in Yunqi's hand. Sister-in-law, it's late. Go rest early. Han Rong also jumped off the bed and acted coquettishly with her. Sister-in-law, go to rest. Ronger won't let sister-in-law work. The children had said so, and Yunqi couldn't bear to refuse. Okay, sister-in-law will rest early today. You two go to bed quickly. However, this matter brought a little concern to Han Yi. His younger siblings were getting older and bigger. In any case, he couldn't let the 2 of them continue to sleep together. Looking at it this way, this house seemed to be a bit small. The more he thought, the redder his face became. If he could really pass the imperial examination and get an official position in the future, he must buy a big house first. It would be convenient for him and Yunqi to do anything. If she could read these thoughts, she would definitely say, I treat you like a good brother, but you want to sleep with me. Before long, it was late at night, and the full moon illuminated the entire night sky. Yunqi suddenly woke up with a start. She quietly listened to the snoring next to her. Is he asleep? At this moment, Hanye's whole body suddenly trembled. Yunqi couldn't help but secretly blame him, not giving him the blanket. Doesn't he know how to pull a bit for himself? He's really a fool. She gently shared the blanket with Hanye, her gaze uncontrollably lingered on his face for a long time. This guy is really handsome. The rustling sound next to her caused Hanye to open his eyes groggily. Yunqi startled and pulled her hand back into the blanket. Are you not asleep yet? He didn't bother to lie to her. He smiled softly and said the thought he had been having, I can't sleep. I keep thinking, should we move to town and change to a bigger house? So Li Ernya next door won't want to hurt you anymore, and it's convenient for you to do business. Unexpectedly, the two were so telepathic. Yunqi happily sat up and agreed, move to a bigger house. It's convenient to do anything. Only these words seemed to carry a different meaning no matter how she said them. She hurriedly covered her mouth, In fact, she had other plans. If they moved to a bigger house, it would be easier for her and Hanye to sleep in separate rooms. Yunqi couldn't help but remember what happened earlier. Just now, Hanye kept mentioning the matter of having babies. She was really afraid that his energy was too abundant and he would think about that matter. However, Hanye didn't understand this meaning and thought she had the same desire as him. Yunqi, do you really think so? Yunqi didn't understand what he was talking about, so she asked back, think what? Waiting and waiting, but not seeing the other party answer, she softly called, Hanye. However, with such a close distance and the abundant emotions in his heart, he couldn't help but swallow. Then he didn't bother to be shy and hugged her tightly into his arms. Yunqi. This sudden action shocked her. Then Hanye gently pulled back, staring at the blushing face in front of him. However, he still didn't stop and continued to bury his head in her neck. This intimate action made her stammer and stop him. Hurry up and let go. Emoer and Ronger are still next to us. He smiled softly to reassure Yunqi. Don't worry, Ronger and Emoer are already fast asleep. However, she couldn't calm down in her heart. Hanye's strength was like he wanted to stick her into his body. Her whole body was like she was electrocuted. Then Hanye lowered his head and gently placed a warm kiss on her body. Yunqi gasped for breath, don't. After he pulled back slightly, she had enough space to breathe. Then Yunqi blushed and pushed him back hard. Hanye, what are you thinking about? Then she had the opportunity to explain her words earlier in detail. What I said about it being convenient to do anything is just that it won't be too far for you to go to and from school. I hope you can study hard and pass the imperial examination so that you won't have come to this world in vain. Hanye rubbed his pushed cheek feeling aggrieved. Then he lowered his eyes and hesitantly asked the question in his heart, don't you want to have a child of our own? Yunqi was surprised and didn't know how to answer, this matter. On the other hand, she felt extremely shocked, is Hanye serious? Then she forced a smile and found a reason for herself, Ronger and Emoer are still young. Right now, I just want to take good care of them and help you pass the imperial examination. Yunqi refused logically and smoothly, what children? It's still too early to think about that now. Unexpectedly, not only was Hanye not sad, but he also stroked his chin and smiled. What you said makes sense. The reason he was so happy was because he thought that Yunqi definitely had him in her heart, so she was thinking about them like that. He didn't know that this radiant smile had successfully made Yunqi infatuated. Then she covered her face that was blushing with shyness and crawled into the blanket. Okay, hurry up and go to sleep. Tomorrow we still have to take our younger siblings to town. Hanye gently took the edge of the blanket and pulled it up for her. Yunqi has sacrificed too much for this family. Then he made a promise to himself in his heart, she wholeheartedly supports my studies. I must study well so that I won't fail her intentions. The beautiful prospects of the future gradually appeared in his mind. If he got promoted and became an official in the future, he would let Yunqi be a noble lady. Yunqi's beautiful and happy appearance would look at him and call, husband. It made the emotions in him fluctuate once again. Every day he only needs to eat, drink, and have fun, and no longer needs to suffer. Calm down. Then Hanyi tried to calm himself. If I continue to daydream any longer, I probably won't be able to sleep tonight. Finally, he successfully lay down on the bed. And the surrounding space gradually became quieter. At this moment, Yunqi gently opened her eyes. She couldn't fall asleep at all. So she had to roll over and turn to observe the person next to her. What exactly is wrong with Hanyi tonight? Having transmigrated here for so long, this is the first time Hanyi has almost lost control of himself and keeps talking about the issue of having babies. Suddenly, a thought flashed in her mind, making her face as red as a tomato. Could it be? A question that even she herself felt was unrealistic was raised. Does Hanyi like me? Her mind at this time seemed to be divided into two extremes. The rational side tried to analyze. Forget it, what's the point of thinking about these things? Anyway, Hanyi will be with the 9th princess sooner or later. Yunqi covered her face and listened to the words of the other side, but she is a transmigrator and has a divine artifact like a supermarket. The little devil representing the troublemaking side began to persuade her, as long as she wants to, why can't she? At this time, reason stood up and shook its head in rebuttal, no way. According to the normal logic of transmigrating into a book, no matter how much the female supporting character acts up, she cannot change the main plot of the story. Just as the rational side said, even if the plot occasionally deviated slightly, it's just a little insignificant mistake. The red string of fate is already destined, and will eventually connect the couples that the author has written. Before long, Hanyi will meet his sweetheart. The male lead will definitely be with the female lead. That's right, Hanyi has his own happiness. Why do I need to change his fate? Yunqi waved her hand to dispel the previous fantasies from her mind. There are thousands of handsome men in the world. After I change my tragic fate, I should take a look. Then she grabbed the blanket and covered her whole body. Fengqi snuggled into the soft cocoon she had just created and said to herself, no matter what, there can be no skin-to-skin contact with Hanyi, and I can't be moved. The next day, the usual crowing of the rooster woke up all things in the early morning. Yunqi opened her eyes groggily. Unexpectedly, she was face to face with Hanya's handsome face. Wife, good morning. She was stunned and didn't understand anything. What's wrong? I clearly lay close to the corner last night. Why is this guy so close to me? Yunqi was like she had fallen into a maze so early in the morning. Does he want to use a beauty trap to make me submit? At this time, Hanyi forced a smile and suggested, Wife, can you let go of me a little? Although he was very enjoying it, he also needed to survive. You are hugging me too tightly. I can't breathe anymore. His current action was like slapping her mumbling before going to sleep last night. Straight in the face, there can be no skin-to-skin contact. Yunqi was embarrassed and quickly let go of him. Did I hug you actively last night? Hanyi briefly recalled his embarrassing situation all night. Lisa Chuan, Su Mo, Bai Kai, abs, pecs, I want them all. Then he kindly took the initiative to find a reason for her. Maybe it was cold in the middle of the night. However, what is Sichuan? Is there a shortage of salt in the house? Yunqi only knew how to stammer a reply to get through the matter. Oh, really? In her heart, she blamed herself. It's all because I kept mumbling about the misfortune caused by thousands of handsome men last night before going to sleep. Hanyi quickly got up to tidy up his clothes. Ronger and Moer are about to wake up. If wife is still sleepy, then take a nap. I'll go prepare breakfast. Before leaving the room, his eyes were suddenly attracted by something. On the pajamas that were neatly placed on the bed, there were all temporary patches. He frowned and picked it up to examine it, then made a decision. Later when we go to town, we'll buy some more household items. Wife's clothes are also damaged. It's a good opportunity to change to a different set. Yunqi also nodded in agreement. What you said is right, but it's not just buying for me alone. We also have to buy some new clothes for Ronger and Moer. She remembered the two little kids and couldn't help but feel gentle in her heart. Moer's underwear is all damaged, and Ronger's dress. Of course, if the children are getting new clothes, then the adults also have to get new things, and you too, you should also change to a pair of decent boots for going to school at the academy. Hanyi was happy with Yunqi's state of caring for the family. He gently reached out and stroked her head. Then he smiled indulgently. Okay, listen to you. Deep down in his heart, he began to believe in her new personality. Yunqi, she is thinking about us and everything now. We can see that she has really changed. After waking up, Yunqi happily pulled out the dowry chest she brought back from the Luo family. As soon as the lid of the chest was opened, it emitted the golden light of wealth. She couldn't help but laugh. Hee hee, now I can be considered a little rich woman. In the future, I won't need to hide anymore when using food from the supermarket. Then she imagined the enjoyment she would be having soon. When I go to town later, I'll buy and buy. Some time later, the whole family entered a clothing store. Han Emo and Han Rong were wearing their new clothes. The shopkeeper also sincerely praised, wearing the clothes from our store. You two are transformed into a young master and a young lady with just a shake of your body. They fit perfectly. After Han Rong finished looking at herself, she ran to show off to Yunqi radiantly. Sister-in-law, look quickly. Ronger has turned into a little butterfly. She followed these words and praised the little girl. Our Ronger is the most beautiful little butterfly. At this time, the shopkeeper rubbed his hands and came closer, beginning to solicit more products. Madam, you are so beautiful. Are you considering buying a set for yourself? Yunqi hesitated a bit. Then she reached out and picked up the simple set of clothes hanging on the rack. I'll take this set. In fact, she also had her own reasons. Life still had to be carefully planned. And money couldn't be spent all at once. Not only that, but her choice also had another meaning. Moreover, it's more convenient to wear this for doing work normally. Looking at the set of clothes in Yunqi's hand, the shopkeeper hesitated. Oh, this. At this time, Han Yi interrupted. Boss, take this set. He hurriedly followed. Okay. Then he happily pushed for more sales. Young master has a really good eye. This is a bestseller in our store. The fabric is light and doesn't hurt the skin. Your wife will definitely look great in it. Yunqi knew the value of that set of clothes with just one look. Han Yi, this set looks very expensive at a glance. He didn't try to force her, but gently persuaded. Try it first. Trying it doesn't cost money. At this time, Han Rong stood beside her and looked at her with glittering eyes. Try it, sister-in-law. Ronger is a little butterfly, and sister-in-law is a big butterfly. Yunqi couldn't resist this cute and coquettish act. Okay. I'll say it first. I'm just trying it on. I didn't say I would buy it. A moment later, she reached out and lifted the curtain of the dressing room, causing the wind chime hanging outside to jingle. Han Yi really had a good sense of aesthetics. The set of clothes he chose completely suited Yunqi, bringing out her exquisite and gorgeous beauty. The two little kids stared at her with round eyes and exclaimed, wow, sister-in-law is so beautiful. Han Yi was also attracted by her appearance, and his heart couldn't help but beat repeatedly. Although she really liked it, Yunqi still found a reason to refuse. This dress is too cumbersome. It won't be convenient when working. Then she shyly turned around to go inside, but suddenly Han Yi reached out. He gently pulled her arm to stop her, then smiled and praised, I've already paid for this dress. Wife, just wear it. It's very beautiful. However, Yunqi only paid attention to one point. Where did you get the money? Han Yi blushed and explained, as a grown man, how could I not be able to earn money? This is the money I earned from copying books before. The image of him working hard all night appeared in her mind. No wonder she often saw Han Yi writing something in the evening, and the corners of his eyes were slightly bruised. At those times, Yunqi didn't think in this direction. She thought it was because of his studies at the academy, so she didn't ask much. Looking at the bruises on his hand, Yunqi felt a little distressed in her heart. So Han Yi is copying books. There are also scratches on his hand. After getting married, Han Yi had always shouldered the responsibility of supporting the family alone, never complaining. She couldn't help but recall everything, and at the same time sincerely praised him in her heart. Regardless of whether it's cold or hot, Han Yi never misses a day of going out to chop firewood and hunt. Nowadays, he goes to the academy during the day, and he has to copy books every night to provide for the family. Han Yi rarely makes promises, but he always takes practical actions. He is indeed a good man worthy of entrusting one's life to. Thinking of this, Yunqi's face darkened, and she turned her hand around to hold Han Yi's hand. Then she used force to pull him forward. She slammed the purse on the table, then cheerfully ordered the shopkeeper, "Shopkeeper, choose a set for him. The fabric must be good." He quickly replied, "Madam, don't worry." Before leaving, he handed Han Yi a small wooden box. "Young master, please take this and go slowly. Come again if you need anything." He accepted it, then smiled and replied, "Okay." Then he lowered his head and slightly opened the lid of the box, looking at the thing inside. At this moment, Yunqi stood outside and loudly urged, "Hurry up, Hanyi. Next stop, we're going to Baixian restaurant." The whole family walked for a while and arrived at the place. The waiter warmly arranged the dishes on the table. "Esteemed guests, please enjoy." Perhaps this was the first time in their lives that Han Rong and Han Mo had seen such a luxurious table of food. "It smells so good," Yunqi gently reminded. "Eat quickly." Han Rong picked up the chopsticks and prepared to eat, but she encountered some difficulties. "The chopsticks are too difficult to use." Yunqi patiently taught her step by step. "Don't rush, eat slowly." Suddenly, her gaze noticed the person sitting opposite her. Seeing that he had been sitting still, she asked in puzzlement, "Hanyi, why aren't you eating? The food will not be delicious anymore if it gets cold." At this time, he began to move his chopsticks, gently picking up a piece of meat from the plate. However, Hanyi didn't eat it, but instead handed it to Yunqi. "Wife, you eat too." This action made her think, is he wanting to feed me personally? Although she was a little shy, she still opened her mouth and leaned closer. Then she closed her eyes and ate the piece of meat. It had been so intimate in an instant, it really felt a little unfamiliar. Only this simple action of Yunqi caused the other party to smile. Hanyi looked quite happy. At this moment the familiar mechanical voice sounded, "The male lead's favorability has increased by 2 points. White rice is on the shelves." The appearance of this precious food made Yunqi surprised. "I can do it. It's not just feeding food, what's not to be used to?" Thinking this, she also reached out and actively picked up a piece of vegetable. Then she gently brought it closer to test the other party. "Hanyi, you also open your mouth." Yunqi tilted her head slightly to ask about his feelings. "Is it delicious?" This action combined with her expression made Hanyi unable to calm down any longer. "Of course it's delicious when wife feeds me." Han Mo sitting next to her kept looking left and then right. Then the boy was satisfied and bowed his head to put rice into his mouth. Han Rong was more straightforward. She hugged her cheek and laughed. "Elder brother and sister-in-law have both turned into babies who need to be fed. Ronger also wants to turn into a baby and be fed by elder brother and sister-in-law." Han Mo couldn't help but laugh at his sister's innocence. Then laughter spread throughout the table. Yunqi gently reached out and stroked Han Rong. "Ronger is originally a baby." She really enjoyed this moment in her heart. After transmigrating here, this was the first time she had laughed so comfortably, living this kind of life, living a little longer. It doesn't seem so bad. Only the system was still silent, which made Yunqi puzzled. But why doesn't the favorability increase? Is the chef's stir-fry of green vegetables too salty or not? At this time, the bell hanging outside the door jingled. A young girl with captivating beauty slowly entered. Even though the fan in her hand covered half of her face, it couldn't stop her bright eyes. This was Guan Shuiyan. As soon as the waiter saw the distinguished guest, he quickly stood up to greet her. "Miss Guan, what brings you here?" She replied coldly, "My father asked me to buy some food." Then she threw a large bag of money at him. "Waiter, choose some delicious dishes and pack them for me." Originally, the customer was God, but if the other party had a lot of money, then the service would definitely be much better. Therefore, the waiter's attitude was even more respectful. "Okay, miss, please rest assured." Guan Shuiyan slowly entered the restaurant. She calmly faced the surrounding comments. "Which family is this young lady from? Her appearance is really too outstanding. This demeanor, this temperament, is even more outstanding than all the women I have ever met." Even though she was praised so much, Guan Shuiyan was still calm. "I have learned etiquette since I was a child, and my way of dressing has always been based on the noble women in the capital. I have grown up listening to praises since I was a child. Those rustic village girls are naturally incomparable." At this time, her eyes suddenly met Hanyi. "This young man is very unfamiliar, but his appearance is very handsome." From the time Guan Shuiyan entered until now, he had only been engrossed in bowing his head to eat. This action made her feel extremely strange. Why does he only know how to eat? Doesn't he bother to raise his head? Little did she know that he was focused on peeling shrimp for his beloved wife. "Yunqi, eat." She helplessly stopped him. "Stop, Hanyi, this plate of shrimp is almost peeled by you. I'm full. Save it for Ronger and Amour." He was about to speak to refute, but suddenly a fan fell with a thud next to him, causing him to stop. Hanyi quickly picked it up and called after Guan Shuiyan, "Miss, your fan." It was unknown whether she didn't hear it or deliberately didn't hear it, but she went straight outside and slammed the door shut. Guan Shuiyan stood outside shyly covering her mouth. This fan is exquisitely embroidered, and it even has my name on it. Even the slowest of men should understand by now. At this time, Yunqi also noticed the situation on his side. Who is that? Why did she throw her fan away? Han Yi blankly picked up the fan and replied, I don't know either. I must return it quickly. He quickly recognized the 3 meticulously embroidered characters on it, Guan, Shui, Yan. This name was a little familiar to Yunqi. Her head couldn't help but try to remember. I seem to have heard this name somewhere before. But after a while, she didn't have any clues. Where have I heard it? Han Yi saw that Yunqi was silent and asked caringly, What's wrong, wife? She was startled and replied to him. It's nothing. What about the fan? Do we need to find its owner? Han Yi didn't care much and stood up to make a decision. Forget it. We still have things to do later. I'll ask the waiter of the restaurant to help find its owner. Yunqi pondered for a moment but also agreed with this method. Okay. Then she hugged Han Rong. Hi, Ronger, are you full? We should go. The little girl happily replied, I'm full. A moment later, Baixian restaurant was still bustling with diners. Guan Shuiyan entered the restaurant and politely asked, Waiter, is the food I wanted ready yet? He quickly replied, It's ready, it's ready. Coming right away. At this time, the familiar item placed on the table caught her eye, my fan. Guan Shuiyan doubtfully touched it lightly. Could it be that he doesn't understand my meaning? Suddenly, a thought flashed in her mind, causing her beautiful complexion to sink, or is it that he doesn't want to? The intimate appearance of Han Yi and Yunqi simultaneously appeared. At that time, the waiter respectfully brought out the order that Guan Shuiyan had placed. Miss Guan, this box of food is very heavy. I'll ask someone in the restaurant to help you carry it back later. He saw the fan and suddenly remembered the task. I forgot. Just now, a guest said that someone dropped a fan here and asked me to find its owner. Guan Shuiyan's cold voice rang out, interrupting his thoughts. No need. The waiter turned around puzzled. What? She explained to the other party in a deep voice, this fan is mine. I don't know when it fell here. It must be dirty by now. Throw it away for me. This strange attitude made him even more confused. No, Miss Guan. Guan Shuiyan was so angry that she gnashed her teeth. What owner? This is clearly a reason to reject me. She still couldn't accept it in her heart, from a young age until now. Only others have knelt under my skirt. The more she thought, the more aggrieved she felt, but no one has ever been so indifferent to me. Han Ye's appearance reappeared in her mind. Han Yi, right? At this time, Guan Shuiyan noticed Yunqi sitting opposite him at that time. Who is that woman? No matter what, she couldn't accept this humiliation. The next time we meet, I will make you see only me in your eyes. Han Ye's family went together to meet a broker named Wang Dajia. She greeted the group of people kindly. Come here, you too, take a look at this one. Although this one is a little small. After the door was opened, she continued, but it's just right for your family to live in. The 4 people looked around inside in surprise. Han Rong and Han Mo immediately rushed in to explore around, while Wang Dajia continued her duties. This place is also close to the market in town. It's convenient to buy and sell things. There is also a set of tables and chairs in the yard, usually used for drinking tea and talking. She saw that Yunqi was paying attention to the thing in the middle of the yard and happily introduced it. You can also raise some fish and plant some flowers in the pond, which is also very elegant. Han Rong ran back after running a circle and shouted to the 2 people, elder brother, sister-in-law, this house is too big, too beautiful. Yunqi gently squatted down to wipe the sweat for the little girl, then asked for the other party's opinion. Then can we live here in the future? Han Rong smiled happily. Really? Okay. Ronger wants to live here. Han Yi heard these words and turned his face in surprise. Then he asked Yunqi's opinion in a soft voice. Wife, do you also like this house? She brushed her clothes and stood up, saying her feelings. Yes. I've looked at several houses before, but only this one. As soon as I walked in, I felt different. Even though she couldn't describe it in detail, it could be seen through Yunqi's expression that she liked this place very much. At this time, a gust of wind blew, as if welcoming the presence of the new owner. It seemed that she could see the image of life here. Like when Han Mo and Han Rong were running and playing together in the yard. Or like when she was leisurely sitting on a wooden chair knitting. while Hanyi gently brought snacks. The image of the two people leaning close to each other looked very intimate, like a real couple. But a second later, Yoonchi personally broke the scene. What am I thinking? Why am I fantasizing about a life with Hanyi? No, Hanyi has an owner. Then she solemnly handed the purse to the broker. Wang Dajia, we'll rent this house. She happily accepted immediately. Okay. Before long, Yoonchi possessed the key to this house, relying on her efforts to change her fate. She shook the bunch of keys with interest. So this is that kind of feeling. Then Yoonchi turned to inform Hanyi of some information she had found out. Hanyi, I just asked. This place is very close to the Tiancheng Academy. You won't have to wake up early in the morning when it's not even dawn yet in the future. He was also infected by this happy emotion and nodded slightly. Okay. Yoonchi smiled happily, beginning to plan for the future. We still have a lot of money left. In the future, when you go to the academy, I'll go to the market to set up a small stall to do business. Our family's life will improve very quickly. These words made Hanyi extremely moved. She said our family. His heart didn't listen to his head and started beating wildly. Thump, thump. Yoonchi looked towards the two kids who were tidying up each other's clothes, and also Amoer and Ronger. The more she talked, the more enthusiastic she became. Even the things in the distant future were taken into account by her. They're also getting older and should study. I'll ask around to see where there is a private school and take them to study. And also. Suddenly, the system released 3 notifications in a row. The male lead's favorability has increased by 5 points. The male lead's favorability has increased by 10 points. The male lead's favorability has increased by 20 points. A series of points being added made Yoonchi astonished. Ugh. The strange system panel also suddenly appeared. Ting ting. Achieved the achievement of 100 points of the male lead's favorability. Obtained the title, 1-star supermarket. This strange title made her confused. What is a 1-star supermarket? Not only that, but there were also a few things that made her wonder, why did the favorability increase so much? 100 points, then hasn't it reached the maximum points already? After finishing all of today's tasks, the whole family returned to the village together. Hanyi gently put Hanrong down on the bed to sleep. He carefully pulled the curtain back and said softly to Yoonchi, walking around all day, the two children are so tired that they fell asleep. She also asked him caringly, are you also tired? Suddenly, Hanyi turned around and grabbed her hand tightly. I'm not tired, wife. It's too late today. Wait until tomorrow when I return from the academy, I'll come to the new house to help clean up. These words made Yoonchi unable to stop herself from laughing. Just focus on your studies. I'll take care of the cleaning up. We'll be able to move in very soon. Obviously, Hanyi didn't agree with this decision. Just let me do this heavy work. There are 2 bedrooms in the new house. At that time, we'll divide them so that the 2 children can sleep a little more comfortably. Speaking of this, he squeezed Yoonchi's hand even tighter, and wife and I can also be alone with each other. But unexpectedly, she shouted with a red face, what nonsense are you talking about? Then, not knowing whether she was embarrassed or angry, she hurriedly pushed him out. We should also rest. Go get water and take a bath. Push, go quickly, go quickly. After Hanyi left, she calmed down and breathed a sigh of relief. This man is too dangerous. He probably still remembers the thing about having babies, right? Too much favorability is not a good thing. Speaking of this, Yoonchi remembered a problem that was also relatively important. That's right, the supermarket. I didn't have the opportunity to be alone during the day. So I'll just take this opportunity to take a look. What is a 1-star supermarket? The system quickly showed the question, enter the supermarket? She confirmed without hesitation, yes. Then she successfully appeared inside the virtual space. This supermarket is too similar to my cousin's supermarket. This slightly disgusting title made her recall unpleasant memories. Speaking of which, I suddenly transmigrated here. When she was touched by him, Yoonchi didn't hesitate to give him a kick in the sensitive area. Suddenly remembering this made her mood drop a little. I wonder how that bastard cousin is doing. If I can go back, I will definitely beat him up. Yoonchi's vision was attracted by a different shelf. Oh, what is this? She mumbled to read the 2 words written on it, pharmaceuticals. So it was medicine. This was the reward of a 1-star supermarket? Then Yoonchi excitedly picked them up and looked at them carefully. Anti-inflammatory and pain relief, cough suppressant and expectorant. That's great. This number of medicines are extremely precious. In the ancient era. She observed for a while and made her own guess. Moreover, the shelves above and below are empty, which shows that there will be opportunities to put new medicines on the shelves in the future. At this time, she also suddenly remembered something she was still wondering about. That's right, hasn't Hanya's favorability already maxed out? Then she reached out and touched the system screen. Oh, why haven't I ever seen this interface before? It displayed some basic information. Supermarket level, 1 star. Male leads current favorability, 105 points. Still lacking 95 favorability points to reach the next level. 1-star supermarket reward, pharmaceuticals has automatically received the reward. Yunqi read what was written on it very carefully, still lacking 95 favorability points to reach the next level? Then that is to say, the supermarket can also be upgraded to 2 stars. Then she eagerly made a guess. The reward for the 1-star level is pharmaceuticals. The 2-star level is likely to be clothing, and there are 3-star and 4-star levels. Before anything else, she had already built up a bright vision of the future, raised the supermarket level to the max. In this era of material scarcity, this hack mode is no different from being invincible. At that time, Yunqi would be the queen standing above everyone, and maybe they would kneel down and cheer, "Big boss, big boss, big boss." Suddenly, a familiar warm voice pulled her back to reality. "Wife, wife." The supermarket disappeared accordingly. Yunqi questioned herself suspiciously. "Hanyi is back?" He gently shook her awake. "Are you sleepy? Take a bath and then sleep." She rubbed her eyes and replied softly, "I am indeed a little sleepy. Tomorrow I still have to wake up early." "You should also go to bed early." Waiting until the two people got into bed, Hanyi even diligently tucked the blanket in for Yunqi. She asked with a red face, "Hanyi, why have you been so good to me lately?" "I'm a little embarrassed." He thought for a moment and then joked, "It must be because wife is too beautiful." She hummed and turned her face in the other direction. "I don't believe it. If we're talking about beautiful. The young lady we met at Baixian restaurant today is truly beautiful." "What's her name again?" Guan Shuiyan." "You didn't even look at her once." This sulky attitude made Hanyi feel very new, but he still smiled and explained, "She is beautiful. Of course there are other men who will admire her. I don't care. I only care about the person I should care about." Yunqi didn't reply, but blushed and burrowed deep into the blanket. This man's words of love are so captivating. Hanyi chuckled softly and reminded, "Go to sleep quickly, wife." She kept chanting in her heart, "Calm down, Luo Yunqi. You absolutely can't waver. Go to sleep, go to sleep." Only before falling into a dream, she still had something she was wondering about. But, where exactly have I heard this name Guan Shuiyan before? That night, it seemed that Yunqi didn't sleep well. And kept tossing and turning. A scene that was both familiar and strange appeared before her eyes. Is someone filming a movie? Guan Shuiyan, completely soaked, was begging the person opposite her, "The road is too slippery. I accidentally fell into the water. It's too cold. Can you hug me?" At this time, Yunqi vaguely realized, this is my dream? Regardless of the water droplets constantly dripping down, her beauty still didn't diminish. Hondage. Yunqi also recognized the other party. Her face is really familiar. But the man opposite her stood up straightforwardly. "Miss Guan, please have some self-respect. I'll go call someone to take you back." This title made Yunqi's head even more confused. "Miss Guan, that is Gao. What, this film crew looks familiar." At this time, the familiar command rang out, "Cut, next scene, extras up." Yunqi blankly repeated this word, "Extras." The director impatiently pointed towards her, "That extra over there, what are you spacing out for?" At this time, she finally came back to her senses. Is the director calling me?" Although she hadn't figured it out, her professional instinct led the way for her. "Never mind, I'll go over there first." The male actor is coming over. Just as they passed each other, Yunqi wondered to herself, the male actor is. Unexpectedly, the other party cooperated and turned his face around, helping her to immediately recognize him, Hanyi. The familiarity that rushed over made Yunqi freeze for a few seconds. Then immediately after, she woke up in a panic. The scene in the dream that was both illusory and real made Yunqi's head hurt like it was splitting. This dream, it's my memory of playing an extra in the film crew before. It's morning already. So I met Hanyi a long time ago, but at that time I was single-mindedly trying to earn money and didn't have any scenes with the male lead. If it weren't for dreaming this dream, I'm afraid I wouldn't have remembered it in this lifetime. Right at this moment, Han Rong ran happily to her side. Sister-in-law, you're finally awake. Ronger is so hungry. She gently stroked the little girl's head and asked, Sister-in-law will go prepare breakfast right away. Ronger is so good. Who brushed your hair for you? Han Rong radiantly showed off to her. Second brother brushed it for me. Then the little girl turned around to Jin-chi. Second brother is boiling water in the kitchen. Sister-in-law, go quickly. She had no choice but to stand up and follow. Ugh, I'm coming right away. Looking at the familiar thin blanket neatly folded beside her, she couldn't help but wonder, I also don't know when Hanyi left. While the three people were eating breakfast, a voice called out from outside, Yun-chi, sister, are you home? She quickly recognized the person who came, it was Chungwei. After instructing the two children, she strode outside. Ronger, Moer, you two continue eating. Sister-in-law will go out and take a look.